And we are live. First K&K Sports Show of 2021. Mr. Kirkpatrick, how are you, and who is that gentleman on the screen with us tonight?
We have our Hall of Famer. I'm doing well, by the way. We have our Hall of Famer.
Go ahead, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Little blooper there on the first
That's
segment.
okay. That's all right.
So that's just to get the show started. But we have our Hall of Famer, our very first panelist for our new format, which I am super excited about to tell everybody. But let me introduce our panelists first for our first segment, and then I'll get into our little format. Mr. Edward, Hall of Famer Siciliano, joined us this evening.
What's up,
Thank
Mr.
you, Mr.
Sis?
Siciliano, for joining
How
us.
you boys?
Happy New
How you
Year.
boys doing this evening? All right.
Happy
I'm
New
doing
Year
all
to
right.
you.
Good.
By the way, Coach Breslin saying, good evening, guys. Wow, is that Coach Sis? Yes, it is.
The living legend himself.
That's it.
It's 2021, Mr. Coach Breslin. We don't play around. But our new format, gentlemen, and audience listen out there, which Kurt and I and everybody's super excited about,
Yep.
is each week we're going to make this more interactive for our audience and our people that listen to us. We want the show to be more about you guys. We'd love to hear feedback. We love to hear questions, comments. As you see, we got Mr. Siciliano. He's going to be on our panel for college football. We're going to have different panelists for different topics throughout the evening. And we're going to have Zoom callers. I believe Kurt's going to have Zoom info for everybody. If
Yes,
they want to
I will be putting it up throughout the night.
call in 3 minutes approximate time. Come in, question, comment, want to say a quick hello. We'll do that all night as well. So super excited about our new format. Going to do some college football playoffs. We're going to do some NFL talk with the wild card weekend. And later on, we're going to get into some NBA Knicks because the baby Knicks are back.
Oh,
boys.
yeah. Baby Knicks are back. And Mr. Neely is saying that guy's son was good at football. So he's talking about one of your kids saying they were good at football.
Talking about Dante.
Talking about Mr. Dante. So, guys, by the way, Happy New Year to both of you guys.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year,
And to
Mr.
you
Cook.
and Mrs. Valenti upstairs watching, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. And you want to get right into it? You want to go right to the college football?
Let's get right into the college football.
Okay.
So we brought Mr. Siciliano. He's our big Alabama fan.
Yes, he is.
For this discussion. And like I said, anybody wants to call in, we'll give out that information through comments and Zoom. But we had the playoffs last week, gentlemen. I want to say a successful bowl season, but as successful as it could be. A lot of teams opted out. A lot of players opted out. We know why. But we still had a bowl season. But let's talk about the playoffs first. We had Alabama, undefeated, deservingly number one team in the country, obviously. Number two, we had Clemson, who got the number 2 ranking from beating Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. The number 3 seed was Ohio State. Little controversy with them getting the 3 seed because of how many games they played. And 4, a lot of controversy with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish sneaking in over Texas A&M, Cincinnati. So first thing I want to talk about, guys, is the playoffs. We'll get into the Bama game in a second. Let's get into the Bama game first, actually. That was the bigger route. I think we all expected it. I'll go to Sis first. What were your thoughts as a whole on the game? Was there anything you didn't expect? Was it what you expected? Give us an overall thought of the game and what you expect to see going forward in the championship with Bama.
Okay. I really expected, and not because I'm a huge Alabama fan, I really expected them to handle Notre Dame with no problem because, like you had said before, in all honesty, the amount of games that Notre Dame played, I thought Texas A&M should have been in that slot. Not taking anything away from Notre Dame. They had some great athletes, but I think they were totally outclassed in that game. Obviously, it was a woodshed. So, you know,
Um,
And
that's
Guys, real quick, Kenny, our guy, which we will have tomorrow, along with Mr. Siciliano and our Wits and Wagers, Carson's checking in, saying, "What's up, fellas?" So, what's up, Carson?
Carson,
Carson. Hello, hello.
after the show, we're going to be checking Carson. Check out Carson on Ticket Time. He's doing a live stream tonight. If you want to check that out, it's all about gambling and some good times, giveaways on there. Check him out.
Okay.
Yes. So, Kurt, what were your thoughts on it? I know you were probably. Is there anything you want to add to what Mr. Siciliano said?
You know what? Same thing like Sis said. Like he used the word outclass, and I thought that what it was. You know, Notre Dame had a couple drives early in the game, but you know, it was just too much. You know, and it's going forward. Like Sis said, that their offense is just so sick, Alabama, that Notre Dame, you know, once if they realized they couldn't, you know, like stop them and make it a low scoring game, they just didn't have the personnel to go score for score with them. So you know, I know our Coach Coyne, great friend Coach Coyne, you know, he was chiming in like on our comments saying, well, you know, this team got smoked and that team and Clemson got smoked. You know what? Looking forward, I don't know. Would A&M have given them a better game? I don't know. I mean, A&M, would they beat them? Sis, I think Bama beat them like 54-28 or something already. So
Yeah, earlier in the season.
earlier in the season, you know, I don't know.
Let me ask both of you guys this question. I've been high on them all year, and they lost a heartbreaking game to Georgia. Do you think Cincinnati deserved this shot to be there?
Go ahead, Sis.
I mean, we talk about Bama was going to blow out anybody who was in that number 4 seat, realistically. If you know that, I think we all know why the reason they put Notre Dame in was ratings. But you put Notre Dame up against Cincinnati, I think Cincinnati's going tooth and nail with them and very good chance of beating them. I think they match up very good against Notre Dame. So I would have given Cincinnati that chance, guys. That's just me personally.
What do you think, Sis?
They had Georgia beat. They had Georgia on their heels, and then they lost. No excuse losing a player, but they're not as deep as the SEC teams, ACC teams. They lost their left tackle, and we saw what they were doing to that backup tackle the whole game after they lost their starting tackle. What do you think, Sis? Did Cincinnati deserve a shot at getting in there possibly too?
I think Cincinnati played a tremendous game against Auburn. I don't believe, in my opinion, that Cincinnati is ready for that level of football just yet. They might get there eventually. They got a great team for, you know, college team, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. No, I don't think Cincinnati is that caliber with the big boys yet. No, I don't.
And I agree. See, Kenny, I know you're going to disagree, and Neely's saying it's Johnny Beelin's our guy, Johnny Beelin's Cincinnati Bearcats. But you got to remember, again, since Georgia had tons of guys out, you know, and they still lost that game, you know, Sis. And what Sis is right, like, I don't know. I don't think they would have been able. I mean, being realistic, Kenny, I don't think they would have been able to play with them.
This is why, guys, and this is my next question. This is why you think I agree with you guys with if there were 4 teams. This is why you need to go to at least 8 teams. And do you think they will finally sink in their heads, Mr. Siciliano and Mr. Valenti, that we need to change this format? Because 4 teams is not, you're getting the same 2-3 teams every year, and then you have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the outside looking in, all with a realistic chance of being in there. You know, you look at Cincinnati, then they can be in there. You can look at the Big 12 champion, they can be in there. You can do the Pac-12 champion, they can be in there.
Right.
You know, I think they should make the Power 5. My question to you guys is, how would you change it if you wanted it changed? I would change it Power 5 and then 3 at-large bids.
Let me before Sis answers, I want to Coach Breslin saying, and he's basically saying what you're agreeing with you, Kenny, saying, I think they should have had 8 teams and 1 to 4 have buys. You couldn't have many people at the games. I think ratings would have been higher, and Cincy would have been one of the 8. Jimmy Eiserman is saying, what's up, guys? Welcome back, sis.
Jimmy, but
And
got everybody coming back tonight. I love it.
Coach Breslin's also saying, I agree. Georgia did not have anything to play for and still won. See, that's the part, Kenny. You know, like nothing to play for, guys out, and they still win. You know, like that's
right. And again, I'm not making an excuse. If I had to make an excuse, is the difference between Clemson, Bama, any of the top conferences. They're 3 and 4 deep at every position. Cincinnati is not. Cincinnati had an exceptional year. Okay. Are they going to be there next year? Probably not. And this was a 1-year thing for them. They had a lot of seniors. They lost their left tackle. When they lost that left tackle, Georgia was killing them. And the game changed dramatically after they lost that kid. No excuse, but they're not deep like the SEC teams, ACC teams. That kid was from Germany, I believe. He didn't have a clue, like, how am I going to stop this guy? And they had no answer for it. Like, they were just getting in there, and the game turned right after that.
Before we get to sis, Stephen Waldman saying hello, guys. So thank you, Stephen, for joining.
Stephen, thank you. Sis, how would you change the playoffs the way it's set up now?
I think the format, I totally agree with you, should go to 8 games, especially for the fans. And it'll give everybody a better chance to make it in, because you brought up a great point in the beginning. Every year it's Clemson and Alabama. And I know people get sick of, Alabama, Clemson. But when you put the cards on the table, they've been the best 2 teams in the last 6-7 years.
Yep.
I mean, so how do you like, what's the word I'm looking for? How can you disqualify them because they're good?
Right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Jimmy Eiserman saying, I agree, 8 is the way to go. But I agree with you, Kenny. That's like saying, the Jordan Bulls or, the Lakers now with 8, like the Warriors. Like, you just can't say because they're that good, you can't put them in there. I mean,
my last thing on this, and then we'll get into the Clemson-Ohio State game. I'm going to bring up a point. I'm going to bring in NFL into this equation. AFC, NFC. Dolphins record. Not in the playoffs. NFC East. Washington got in with a 7-9 record. If Washington lost, the Giants were in with a 6-10 record. My question for you guys is ACC, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, all the big conferences, Big 10, I think they should combine. There should not be an East and West or a North and South. They should combine, and the top team, 2 teams play in the championship. The winner of that game gets in the playoff, and then you have your other at-large teams. So say, I'm just throwing teams out there. Say Alabama and Florida play in SEC championship. Alabama's undefeated. Florida had 1 loss. Florida beats them in the championship. Now they both have 1 loss. Florida gets in, but Bama gets one of those at-large bids into the playoff. I think when you have the East and West, North and South in each division, that's complicating things because, and you can say, oh, well, team had 3 losses and they're in. Well, you know what? NFC in the playoffs has Washington in with 7 wins. So I don't want to hear wins, losses, and we'll get into NFL later. Don't be surprised if Washington does sneak in a win here against Tampa, but we'll get into that later.
Kenny, real quick, Steven's also saying, don't worry, Jet fans. They're not drafting a quarterback. They will be drafting an offensive lineman. And if it's that lineman from
they're set.
That's nice. So
let's get into Clemson, Ohio State. And I'm going to go right back to Mr. Siciliano on his thoughts for the Clemson, Ohio State game. 2 Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick in the draft, and Ohio State. A lot of controversy with them sneaking in. Justin Fields hasn't been playing well, but the running game's been looking great. Ohio State ends up showing up the Clemson defense really bad because Venable, a little overrated in my opinion, and the Clemson defense, a little overrated in my opinion. Can't take anything away from Trevor Lawrence. He still put up numbers. Still can't blame him. Got one person to blame on that game, the defense. I'd like your thoughts on the game, Mr. Siciliano.
Totally agree. I mean, we all know COVID played a big part this year with a lot of these teams. Clemson's defense wasn't even close to what they were a year or two ago. Now, Trevor Lawrence is a tremendous, tremendous athlete. He didn't have a Heisman Trophy year. Let's be realistic. He didn't. And that's not a knock against the kid because the kid is going to be a very high draft pick. And I think he's going to be a great pro. I really do. But their defense, nah, no way. Not this year.
Kurt, your thoughts on the game? Because you were high on Trevor Lawrence. I got it. And you were not high on Justin Fields, and neither was I. So
no, and Jimmy, I'll say this right now. Jimmy Eisman saying Justin Fields just shot his stock up a ton by his performance. And you know what? Listen, I was dead straight wrong on this game, Kenny. I mean, listen, Fields, again, we can get into this an hour. I don't think Fields is going to be a great pro. I wouldn't take him. But I will say this. Last Friday, he showed a lot. He showed toughness. He showed he could throw in the pocket. And by the way, Sherry is saying, hey, guys, just a hello. Happy New Year. Love you all. Just had hard times. Hope to participate soon. Thank you very much, Sherry.
Thoughts and prayers to my cousin and her family out in there in Florida. Going through some times, but that's my cousin, guys. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers. Absolutely.
And can't wait for you to join back with us, Sherry. But getting back to that, Kenny, and what Sis said, very disappointed in their defense, Sis. I mean, you know what? I sat on here for weeks, Kenny. What did I say? You got the best defensive coordinator. You got Venables. He's going to shut. You know what? He had no answer, Sis. And none. And
none.
And
nope.
I mean, they came out in the second half. They make a score. They have them like 3rd and 10. They give up a big play. And listen, just very disappointing. I was dead wrong on this game. And you know what? I'll tell you, Ohio State, I mean, we'll get into the prediction, but Ohio State, I think, though, played that perfect game against Clemson. And you know what? It worked. I mean,
Kurt, two great points and comments from Coach Joe Breslin and Stephen Waldman. Coach Breslin, and I 1,000,000% agree with this. He definitely helped his stock, but still concerns with Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yes.
And Coach, I brought this up a couple weeks ago. You go back 20 years and look at the Ohio State quarterbacks. There isn't one that made it in the last 20 years. So definitely agree with you, Coach Breslin. And Stephen Waldman brings up a great point. Says Trevor Lawrence plays a West Coast offense. He will not fit in the Jets program, same as Justin Fields. And I agreed with that. I said Lawrence is not going to be good in New York. And I didn't say that, but I said because of the media. What do you think? Do you agree with those points that they made, or what do you think, Sis?
First of all, I don't think he's going to go to the Jets.
Who? No. When the Jets had the first pick.
Oh, okay.
Trevor Lawrence, I didn't think would be a good Jet.
No, I totally agree with you. But now that the cards are on the table,
I think he'll be a good Jaguar.
I totally agree. I think Fields is going to go to the Jets, to be honest with you.
You think they take him, Sis? You think they're going to take him?
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. And I think he had a tremendous game against Clemson. I don't think he's going to be a good pro, though. I'm sorry, I don't.
Let's wait until Saturday before I can answer that, Kurt. But I will say if he doesn't have to win the game Monday, I should say. He doesn't have to win the game Monday. But if he puts up good numbers in meaningful minutes,
yeah,
I will say the Jets are going to take him number 2. If he comes up and does a complete dud, a complete clunker, they're going to go with the offensive lineman.
I want to ask this a question, just in general as a fan. Like, they always say when you have a top 2 or 3 pick, which the Jets are going to have 2, right? They're cemented at 2. Do you really have to look like Sis? If that's you, do you just go and say, I have to take a quarterback because I'm not going to have, how many times am I going to have a shot to get a top 1, 2, or 3 pick and get a Fields or get a Wilson? Like, do you automatically take that quarterback, or are you still taking best player on that board, or do you take the quarterback, Sis?
As a former coach, I always thought you take the best player that's on the board at the time, whether it's a quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. You take the best athlete that's available to you at the time. That's my own belief.
Okay. Mr. Kirkpatrick, let's get into a little Ohio State, Alabama talk.
Okay, yeah, let's do that real quick, and then we'll get into our next topic after that.
Okay.
So, our championship game, fellas, Ohio State, Alabama. Alabama been rolling all year long. They just got their well-deserved Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith. And, they got everything rolling for them right now. And my question is, though, is Ohio State just starting to come around now, because they only played 6 games, and then their 7th game was just against Clemson. So are they starting to get into midseason and late season form now? And have we seen last week, did we see Ohio State's best going to continue into the Alabama game, or is Alabama just going to be in a world of its own and blow them out? What are your thoughts, Mr. Siciliano?
I think, in my opinion, again, I don't think Ohio State, excuse me, has seen a defense like Alabama, number one. Number two, I don't think it'll be a woodshed. I think it'll be a competitive game, but when all the chips are on the table, Alabama will beat them. They're the best team in the country, not just because I'm a diehard Alabama fan. I'm a former football coach, and that's what I really believe. I don't think they've seen a defense like Bama's. Mm-hmm.
Kurt?
I agree. I was dead wrong with the Clemson game. Ohio State showed me a lot. Ohio State does have the kid Olave, the receiver. They do got some, they do have a lot of weapons, but I also think, like Sis said, I just think Alabama's another animal. I can't see how Ohio State is. Ohio State's not going to play in a shootout with Alabama. And Steven's saying if Ohio State running back can run the ball down their throat just like they did against Clemson, Ohio State wins. I think that's going to be the key. They're going to have to slow this game down, shorten the game. But I agree with Sis. I think Alabama, they have so many weapons. Now they're saying Waddle, Sis, might be coming back, who was a better running back there. And Steven's saying if Bama stops the running game, Bama wins. I think it's the same exact thing. See, the problem with Clemson, guys, Clemson couldn't stop their running game. So now they had to cheat up a little bit, bring the extra guy in the box, and that's when Fields was hitting them over the top for some nice plays. Don't get me wrong. Ryan Day is a great offensive coordinator. I will say that, Kenny. He had a great game plan against Clemson. Like, they used those 2 and 3 and sometimes 3 set tight end sets. But I don't know. Coach Breslin saying, I agree with Sis that it will be competitive. I think Alabama will win. How will the injury to Fields impact them? Can he stay hot, or will he revert back to some of the other games recently? There's the story. There it is. If Fields can stay in the pocket, can hit some big plays, Ohio State's going to have a shot. If they shut that down, though, Sis, on 1st and 2nd down, and now it's 3rd and 8, and he's got to throw the ball, I think Bama's going to roll. That's my
Well,
opinion.
again, to your point, Kurt, this again is my own belief. What I think what Saban is going to do, okay, to try to control the game a little bit, he's going to run Najee Harris a few times, try to keep Fields off the field, and everybody thinks he's just going to throw the ball all day to Devontae Smith rather. And I think, I'm not saying he's not going to do that, but I think he's going to try to control with the big guy, number 22.
Okay.
Yep.
And my thing is, let's throw predictions out real quick and end it there. I think the game's going to be high scoring. It'd be foolish to say low scoring. I think you're going to see Alabama at the end pull away a little bit, and I'm going to say about a 38-28 type of ball game. Alabama wins late. Like, okay. Alabama pulls away late, and the Ohio State plays great through 3 quarters and most of the game, but Alabama's going to be too much for them, and they're going to win by about 10.
Mr. Neely's getting us riled up, saying Fields is a one-trick pony like Lamar MVP Jackson. We'll get into that in a second.
Sis, what's your prediction? And Mr. Valenti. And as we're doing that, I'm going to bring in Mr. Beal in for our next segment that's coming up.
Okay, Kenny, real quick before Sis goes, Coach Breslin's also saying, how much can he run zone read with that injury? If not, that will be a problem, as it will be harder to run the ball against Alabama.
It's a great point.
Great point.
It's a great point.
Mr. Beelan, how are you, sir?
He's going to be back in a minute for the next segment.
Stephen Waldman's going 38-31 Ohio State.
Okay.
Sis, you want to give up? Sis,
it's not out of the question if Ohio State plays like they did against Clemson.
Yeah.
Bama's defense is good, but it's not great. Their offense is the great one.
Right.
So if Ohio State can put up the points, it's not out of the question, but I'm going to say they have too much for them at the end.
Okay. Sis, what's your prediction?
Truthfully, I don't really care what the score is as long as my boys win.
That's it.
That's it.
Kenny, I'm going to go, and tomorrow we're going to do Wits and Wagers. Sis will be on with us. Beelan wants to jump on. Obviously, we're going to have our friend Carson. We could change our pick up until tomorrow, but I'm more with you, Kenny. I'm going to go something to the effect of like a 41-27, something like that right now. We could change until tomorrow, but that's what I'll go with right now.
Okay, so then I think that ends our college football segment. Did you guys want to add anything else to college football?
That was it. I want to give Sis props because he was calling all year for Devontae Smith to win the Heisman. And the best player, I think, I was talking to Sis off air. Finally, I think they didn't go by stats, and the best player in college football this year won the Heisman Trophy. Coach Breslin was on him too. I know that.
Okay, so let's get to our next
deserved. Well deserved.
Our next little segment. Thank you, Sis, for the being on our college football panel tonight. Got a little quick thing for the Giants fans out there. Mr. Siciliano's a Giants fan. I'm a Giants fan. I'm going to be bringing in Jimmy Eiserman. He's going to come in. He's one of our callers. Little venting, ranting, or you want to ask any questions about the Giants. Did the Eagles? This is what we're doing. Did the Eagles tank and purposely lose the game? And what are your thoughts about the Eagles going forward? Mr. Judge, our coach, Mr. Judge, Joe Judge, made some comments that you would never see the Giants doing anything like that. The point I make is don't ever expect your division rivals to win a game for you. But same sense, don't go play and, you got to play to win the game. Tanking is real, guys, in pro sports. And until the NFL does something about it, you're going to keep seeing teams tank for better draft position.
Stephen Waldman saying, I'm a Giant fan, and Coach Breslin saying, thank you, Eagles. Great job.
So, Sis, I'm going to get your thoughts, and then we're going to bring in Jimmy for his question and thoughts. I think
first of all, for the integrity of the game, I totally disagreed with what Peterson pulled. Number one, Jalen Hurts didn't deserve to be yanked out of that game.
But yeah, and you know what, sis? I didn't want to cut you off. And just one last point I want to make. Washington, good chance they still would have won the game with Hurts, but they made it not even competitive when they put that kid Sudfeld in. Washington had a good chance of winning with their defense. Their defense probably, but the integrity of the game didn't mean to cut you off, sis.
That's okay. Again, the bottom line is, first of all, the only game the Giants got blown out in this year was against the Cardinals. Most people don't realize 7 of their losses were 10 points or less. So now, as a Giant fan with the record at 6-10, they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. So I understand the bitterness, being again, former player, and I can imagine how these guys must feel on the Giants. But if they would have did their business, like you said, they wouldn't have had to depend on anybody. They would have been there.
Fair enough. I'm going to bring in our first caller of the evening, Mr. Jimmy Eisman, big Giants fan, Garfield resident, with us, so he can give us a little rant, question, whatever he wants to do. Jimmy, good evening. How are you?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Jimmy?
Thanks for being our first caller on our new format.
Oh, nice.
I know you got the Giants football in the background. I know you probably got a question, or if you want a rant, vent, the floor is yours. Just do what you got, Jimmy. About 3 minutes.
You know what? I don't have a rant. I have, am I disappointed? I think, if we would have made it, I think we would have made it through the first round. I don't believe we deserved it. Sis, you're a Giant fan a long time. Ken, you're a Giant fan. We've all played the game. What Philadelphia did was a disgrace, and there's nobody in the world that could tell me they didn't tank intentionally, because they did.
Absolutely.
Whatever the reasoning behind it is, whether they just hated the Giants that much or they just wanted to move up 2 or 3 spots on the draft.
Great point.
Whatever the reason is, it is. I don't care. I've coached junior Boilermakers in Garfield for 23 years. Even my kids who are 3rd and 4th grade kids, which at that level is all about learning the game and learning how to do the fundamentals of football. I tell my parents every single year that this is all about learning, but we don't play the game to lose. We're playing to win. So I will scream, I will yell, and I will go to bat for every one of those little kids, even the kid that sits on the sideline picking his nose half the day. But I will go to bat for every one of them because we play to win. And what Doug Peterson did, I don't know, what the tabloids are saying exactly and what's true and what isn't, because that's the media. But, they're saying that some of his own players had to be, held back from going after him and, calling him out on what he did. It's just a disgrace to the game, period. And I love the fact that Joe Judge, without mentioning anybody's name, happened to just basically put him out on, completely blast off on him and what he did. But he did it in a classy way without saying anybody's name or throwing anybody under the bus.
Absolutely.
He just generalized the entire conversation and the press conference he had. And it was just, to me, Judge is our guy. I love this guy.
Yeah. And you know what, Jimmy, you hit it on the button, and I'll just bring up one thing. We beat every team. We beat Washington twice. We beat Philly once, and we beat Dallas once. But we could be undefeated in our division. And what do you do when you're a head coach? He probably went in there and goes, most important thing for me is to get those division wins. And he got those division wins. And now what did he do? He, in a respectful way, just made the Giants-Eagles rivalry almost like Yankee Red Sox, in my opinion. Just in those little ways.
next year's Giant Eagle games are going to be a lot more interesting for sure.
Oh,
years
yeah.
to come now, for years to come, as long as he's the head coach. And that's what we need. We need that spark.
Will,
Right?
And
What do
to
you think?
piggyback on what I'm sorry to piggyback on what Sis said, I was just looking at it. 6 of the games that we lost were by a total in all 6 games 18 points. 6 of them. So to have a team that could barely win anything last year and to be 6-10, unfortunately fighting for winning the division of the most horrible division of the season, but to be competing for that, to getting wins in the divisions, like you said, Ken, when you need those, and to be this close to beating the Rams, who at the time were like the number 1 defense, to beating Tampa and Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, those are teams that, should have been blowing us out of the water, and yet they barely beat us. Now, if our offense now, no excuses. Saquon is a loss, but next man up, and Wayne Gallman did a hell of a job this year filling in. I liked the addition of Alfred Morris. I thought he was a key running back, in the times we had him in the game. I think toward the end they kind of used him a little too much, but to be fighting the way they did all year long, and believe it or not, Giants were a top 10 defense in total. I think they finished the season at number 12 so far. But to go from being the worst defense in the league last year to 12 overall in the league, I think we were number 10 at points against. Rushing yards, I think we were top 6. Passing yards, I think, was what kind of hurt us, because we always gave up those chunk plays, but no points.
Yeah.
That the whole team the whole team turned around,
Yeah.
tremendously. And next year, when we're healthy, I mean, put it this way: Evan Ingram makes 3 of those bad 5 drops. He makes 3 of those catches. Our record is completely different. We're maybe a 9-17.
Yep.
Kenny, let me do this. Kenny, I want to get Beelan. Beelan, I'm going to ask you a simple question. By the way, how are you, Mr. Beelan? Thank you for joining.
Good. Appreciate it.
did
Sorry,
the-
I
did
had a
the
business call. Sorry.
That's all right. Did the Eagles screw? Just simply, did the Eagles screw the Giants over Sunday night?
100%.
And
100%.
Beelan's a Jeff fan. I appreciate that.
And Doug, and play devil's advocate on it. I kind of loved it in a way, but also it's bad for football. But I mean.
But you know what made Sis, you might agree with this. Jimmy, you might agree with this. Joe Judge just made them the number 1 target on my list. Like, players are going to want to come play for this guy.
I do like his response though. His response
I do
was,
too, Beelan.
It was professional, but it was like a way where it was basically like if he saw Doug Peterson on the street, like he would probably punch him in the face.
Right.
So me personally, I like it. I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate with it. Like I said, they definitely effed them. But I mean, at the same time, like, and I think it's different too, because it's like it's a Giants Eagles thing. Because if that was like a Jets Patriots thing, like, I don't think we would be talking about like this. I think like people would be completely different. I think it's because it's the Giants and the Eagles.
Yep.
I think it's like it has a different atmosphere and different outlook on certain things.
But
too.
guys, real quick, I don't know if you heard it, and I was telling Kenny, and I might even talk to Sis. Keyshawn Johnson was on yesterday with Don LaGreca, and it was awesome. And Keyshawn was, because I agree with all of you guys. I agree with you guys and Beelan, where you said they definitely screwed him over. But Keyshawn had the attitude of like, what do I owe? If I'm the Eagles, what do I owe the New York Giants? Like,
I mean, he's right though. He's
exactly.
right. I mean, at the end of the day, like who knows? Maybe the GM, maybe the owner said, you know what?
I don't want him in. I don't want. Right.
tank the game. I mean, who? Yeah, it's gonna fall on Doug Peterson at the end of the day, and then you have like literally two players that came out and publicly said that, oh yeah, they weren't for that. But then you have guys like Eric Ernst, who was like, or not Eric Ernst, what's his name? Zach Ernst. He said no, that didn't happen. Like, so like there's now you have players like in the field who are like, oh, this said this and this said that. It's like, man, it's just.
You know what, Kurt? Sorry, guys, but I'm watching the time. Don't mean to cut anybody off.
Okay.
I'd like to get Sis's final thoughts on the situation, and I want to thank Jimmy for calling in. And then we got Mr. Will Colon from Viva Los Bills, and the Smoky Beard himself is coming on for AFC playoff talk. But I'd like to get Sis's final thoughts on the Giants situation. So, and we'll end it there tonight on that talk.
Well, first of all, I think it's very important when the players respect the coach and they love playing for a coach. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was dead wrong on Judge in the beginning.
Me too, Sis. Me too. I was with you.
He did a tremendous job, and they got a bright future with this guy. Yep. They got a very bright future with him. Again, when you love your coach, man, you're going to go through the wall for him.
That's true, Sis. Great point.
He's got them right where he wants them. Mm-hmm. They respect him.
Again, I want to, Jimmy, thank you for being our first caller on our new format, and Mr. Siciliano, thanks for being our first panelist on our new format.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year to both of you guys. Look forward to talking more sports with you guys each and every week. And anytime you guys want to be on a panel, just get in touch with me and Kurt, and we'll make it happen.
And Sis will be on. Sis will be on tomorrow with.
Be on tomorrow, Jimmy. If you're around tomorrow, we're going to do some.
If Beelan wants to jump in, we're going to do our official picks with spreads and all that tomorrow.
Yeah, and then next week, Jimmy, we can work something out. You could be on our panel. We'll get you on more and more. That's the plan, to get everybody involved.
Okay.
Cool.
Have a great night, guys. Sis, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Sis.
Guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Kenny.
All right. I'm going to be bringing in Will Colon from Viva Los Bills.
Did you guys talk college football yet or no?
We did. We're going to get into that with you in a second, Mr. Beelan. I was dead wrong, Beelan, by the way, I admit on air how dead wrong I was.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. We got backgrounds today, boys.
Well, I don't know. This might be a disaster, Kurt. We got Viva Los Bills, Will Colon joining us, and we got the Smoky Beard Titans fan on the bottom. This might get ugly.
And we got Beelan to cause all the trouble with everybody. So
how you doing, guys? Happy New Year to both of you. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just going to say this. Coach Breslin has about a half hour because your two backgrounds are pretty damn sick. So Coach Breslin better up his game in 30 minutes. That's all I'm going to say.
Do I need to add mine?
You could put yours on if you want.
Kurt, the floor
is Johnny Pistachio Nut logo.
Kurt, the floor is yours.
All right, so the floor is mine. We're gonna talk AFC playoffs. I'll tell you this. I can't speak for Beelan, but I know this, that I'm an AFC guy, and I'm jealous as hell as both of you guys because I want to be playing this weekend. Or like with our guy Jim, having even a bye and going into next weekend. So I'm jealous of you guys. But you could be jealous of me because you guys have no Super Bowl trophies on that wall. So
you know what? In Beelan's, in Beelan's defense, I wouldn't want to be a Bronco fan. Will, number 2 seed, Neely's team looking great as the Titans. Beelan, at least you were fighting for the number 1 pick all year.
I know.
We were fighting for a playoff spot all year. The Broncos weren't fighting for anything for the last 5 weeks.
Coach Breslin said, "Don't worry, I already have one." All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Will first. All right, and we got a couple minutes. You guys are the hottest team in football. So
I wouldn't want to be a Bronco fan.
Oh, wait, somebody's got volume on.
It's Will.
Neely's team looking great as the Titans. Beelan, at least you were fighting for the number 1 pick all year.
I know.
We were fighting for a playoff spot all year. The Broncos weren't fighting for anything.
Oh, is it, Kenny?
Said,
"Don't worry, I already have one." Can somebody lower their volume? I think, Will, is your volume on? All right, and we got a couple minutes. You guys
Neely, is it you?
No, it's Will. It's Will.
It's not me.
So I wouldn't want to be a Bronco fan. Wait, somebody's got volume on.
We can hear Will.
It's me.
Yeah. Are you watching it through the phone?
I'm gonna,
There we go.
Will, we can hear you.
All right, now we're good. You hear us now?
well, Will's,
All right, so let's get to Neely first.
Well, we'll start with Mr. Neely since Will's having a little technical.
All right.
difficulty.
We got a couple minutes.
See, I still hear somebody's volume, Kenny.
Yeah, it's still
Will.
Will.
Kenny, you might just have
Having
to mute him real
issues.
quick, Kenny.
Well, you know what though, Kenny, mute him for now.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
All right. By the way, my friend from work, Scott Logan, saying, "Looks like all is well. Happy New Year, Kurt. I wish I knew what you were talking about. The number is the same. LOL."
Oh, Beelan.
All right,
Gotta
Beelan,
get
there
to
we
that,
go.
Mr. Neely. I'm going to be placing in an order myself. We got to get that plugged for you.
We're gonna plug. All right, so Neely, you guys were the hot. You know what? You were the story of last year's playoffs, Neely. You know, you upset Lamar. You went right with. I mean, you had the big comeback. You come right back. You were big on Kansas City. You lost that game, but you guys played well, and you're back to your old self now going into this playoff. Mr.
And
Neely,
wait, we also ended Brady's career as a Patriot.
you did with a pick six. With the pick
Yeah.
six. So.
Well,
Couple minutes. Go ahead, Neely. Give me a little your thoughts going into this playoff as a big time Titan fan.
Just like last year, I'm terrified. We're going to have to go through Baltimore like last year, except it's home. I hope Vrabel – I'm going to lose the hat. Okay. So I hope Vrabel – I put my keys to the game down, and my buddy Jay was breaking my balls because he goes, how can you win the toss? Like, you can't game plan that. But you can game plan to defer. We have the number one running game in the country, in the NFL, and we defer. Let's get the ball. Let's run 7 minutes off the clock, and then let's make Lamar throw the ball. He's not comfortable in the pocket. Greg Roman loves to run.
here we
And
go.
we got to get off the field on third down because we're our own worst enemy when it comes to third down. And my fourth key to the game, real quick, is the kicker because we don't know if it's Gostowski or the kosher cannon this weekend. Slamming Sammy Sloman, who looked like dog crap last week and pulled it off with that doink. I don't know if you caught Derrick Henry's reaction.
Yeah, I did.
But he thought it was done and it went in and wow. The other thing that scares me is that the road team has won all four matchups in the postseason. So
Here's a point, Rob, from our friend Vinny Mejias, the other counterpart on the Viva Los Bills show. He's saying all defensive coaches like to defer.
yeah, but we're not a defensive team this year. Last year, Dean Pease, we had a better secondary. We had Logan Ryan. Kenny, your Giants benefited from that this year. They extended him like they should have. Our defense is suspect. I hate Rashad Evans. Can't stand him. The guy's terrible. Anytime there's a missed tackle or an encroachment, it just happens to be number 54. Can't stand it. Bring back Kenny Bullock, bring back Logan Ryan, bring back, somebody that can get the job done. But our defense is terrible. So we're going to have to, win in a shootout. I'm thinking like 31-28. We just got to make Lamar uncomfortable.
I think we got Will Cologne back with us.
Will, how are you?
Are we still struggling?
Joining audio. Beelan, real quick, what do you got to say about Mr. Neely and his Titans?
I mean, listen, I antagonized you all week last week. I sent you videos. I sent you stats. Lamar Jackson is not uncomfortable in the pocket. He is a top 10 quarterback again inside the pocket when throwing the ball. He has not, when he's down in the red zone in his career, no other quarterback in the NFL has thrown an interception in the red zone, and Lamar Jackson still has yet to do it. You guys, people keep coming out with this thing saying, I mean, he is, don't get me wrong. You blitz him, his first reaction, it's always going to be try to run, try to do things and everything. But if he can get some protection, that dude can throw the ball.
Here's the only thing I got to say, Neely, and again, when we went at it with
Will, are you
Beelan,
back with us?
I'm on a delay, it seems.
Well,
You guys hear me?
Just watch us on Zoom. Don't watch us on Facebook or anything like that. Just stay
All right,
on the
that's
Zoom
fine.
screen with us because
Okay.
it is going to be delayed on Facebook. Here's
Okay,
the
we
thing,
got Will
Neely.
back with us. That's good because we want to get the Bills' perspective in a minute.
But here's the thing, Neely, which and this is where I explained. Me and John were having our Lamar Jackson debate. Was the Chargers did it 2 years ago, but they said you guys really did it last year, where you guys just played a straight zone, and you basically told them, listen, you're not going to run, you're going to have to read it, and it hurt them. It did hurt them. So. Listen, I'm fascinated to watch this game because I talked a lot of trash, like John just said, about Lamar. And you know what?
You gotta stop using that Chargers game as an example. It was terrible. He came in at halftime and it was his rookie year. He only played 7 games. Like, you gotta stop using that.
Look, let's eliminate the Charger game. Last year, the Titans took
And
it
what did
to
he do against the Titans last year?
Let's-
He roasted the Titans last year. He just didn't get the W.
We'll save the evaluations for next Wednesday on what this game and how he looks when they playing. Is it Sunday or Saturday, Rob?
Sunday at 1.
Sunday at 1. All right,
Wednesday we'll do the evaluations, but let's get into the Bills, Kurt.
All right, so let's get into the Bills, Will. Like I said, Neely just let his go. You guys are the hottest team in the NFL. Definitely a believer. I was a little skeptical with Josh Allen, but I got to tell you, man, he's lights
Pay him the
out,
money.
man. He's lights out. You got a great offensive coordinator, great head coach. You guys got Diggs. You got playmakers all over the field. You're not afraid of teams. You guys went toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Listen, the floor is yours for like 2 minutes, man. Why are the Bills the team in the AFC?
I don't know. Listen, honestly, in the beginning of the season, I picked them to go 12-4, and I said, don't be surprised if they go 13-2 or whatever 13-3, whatever the record is right now. And I was like, I could see them sweeping the East, and pretty much it happened. I was just off by 1. They have everything going right now. What's good is their defense is finally playing like they're supposed to. I'm not a big fan of the nickel defense, or it's not even really a 46 defense they're running. It's more straight nickel, which drives me crazy, especially against a run. And that's the only thing that kind of messes with me a little, is that Indy's run offense is going off right now. They're running the ball all over the place. And if the Bills could stop that, I mean, to me, they can hang with anybody. I picked them. My Super Bowl pick was them against Seattle in the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I could see them. I could see them going. They match up well with everybody, pretty much, to me.
And Beelan, since you're our critic on here, what do you what do you got to say about what's you're going to be your Debbie Downer to Will over here?
I hate Josh Allen.
You're jealous of Josh.
I hope Josh Allen is not a Tom Brady for the next 10 years.
Well, if he keeps getting better, man, the sky's the limit.
Here's a question I just want to say.
Lose Brady and you're gaining Allen.
Kurt,
I hate to be a Jets fan.
Kurt, you paying Josh Allen $35 million a year?
I'm gonna answer it this way. I need him to win 2 playoff games to do it. Then I will. If he gets me to the AFC Championship game this year, yeah, I would. But he can't flop versus Indy. He can't flop versus Indy.
I think the bigger question is, Will, would you pay him $35 million? You're the Bills fan. You see him every week.
The only thing I agree with Kurt is these quarterback salaries are insane. They're out of control. But yeah, I would pay him. He's getting better every year, so he's proved that. He has weapons and he's doing a good job. And I don't think we hit his plateau yet.
Okay, but I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong for your sake. He shits the bed this week. 3 picks, you lose at home.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to you and says, the going rate is 36. You giving that to him?
I'm giving it to him because what else could happen? We could get rid of him and we have to start from scratch with somebody you don't even know or who might take a step back. Listen, I like Darnold, but to me, Darnold, it's almost like we've seen his top, unless I said they're going to get Brian Dable. That was my prediction from the beginning of the year. Jets are going to fire Gase, get Brian Dable. I think they hope he could do with Darnold what they've done with Allen. It's 2 different kids, though.
Right.
I see him getting better, and he's gelling with these guys, and they're playing for him. So you got a quarterback. He's got a good arm. His accuracy's gotten better. He's broken not just franchise records. He broke a bunch of NFL records this year. You know, so
And him and
Pay
Diggs,
him.
him and Diggs are
Nearly.
comparing to Rodgers and Adams. Like that's how
Yeah.
good they
Nearly, how much you guys paying Tannehill?
Too much.
No, you're not. You know why? Because you saw that pass in overtime or in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter
yeah.
at the end of the thing. That's why you pay
AJ Brown.
quarterbacks that much money.
How much?
What?
How much you paying Tannehill, Neely?
27,
27.5. 27.5.
27.
But
Worth it.
can I
Every
tell
time,
Johnny what
worth it.
Johnny, this afternoon I was talking to Kurt, and earlier in the offseason when we weren't sure if we were going to franchise Tannehill and nobody knew what Brady was going to do, I said, I want Brady. Let's go get Brady. If we're going to pay Tannehill 30, let's
Yep.
pay Brady 35, right? That was my theory. I was called out by people. They said, why would you want to bring him in? That'd be a trophy you guys didn't really earn. I don't care how we get the trophy. You know, with this offense, with Derrick Henry, I would like Johnny Beelan to be my quarterback. You know, like
right.
as long as you
Yeah.
can sling it.
I-
But so that's how I felt. And Will, before I pick, you jump in, how much do you love your new wide receiver?
Oh, Diggs? I
Yeah.
like Diggs. You know, the only concern I had with him was if he was going to come over here and act a clown. You didn't want that. I mean, he was coming in. We already had a good spot with John Brown, Beasley.
Yep.
Good draft pick with Davis. The kid's playing great. So adding him was just a bonus. At one point, I was hoping they picked up the kid from the Jets from last year, Robbie Anderson. I was
Yeah.
like, maybe him or Perryman, just to match him up with those guys. And if you talk to any of my buddies from like Miami fans, I always said I like Tannehill. It's like if Tannehill has weapons, he's a good quarterback. They hated him, but I was like, he's a good quarterback. If he has weapons and he doesn't have to throw because you guys got Henry, but when he needs to, he can put up 200-300 yards.
Yeah, Beelan,
Yeah.
Beelan, I want to ask you a question because I mentioned this to Neely on our off-show conversation today too. Was you have Tannehill now and you have Darnold, and I know you're going to hate this name that I throw out, but Mr. Gase now, the quarterback guru, that's two guys. I mean, Tannehill couldn't play with Gase. Darnold, they're throwing out. Is that Gase? I mean,
Yes. What guru? Why is he a guru?
well, he got called a guru.
You think he did stuff for Peyton Manning?
No, he didn't do anything for Peyton
Outta
Manning.
here.
No.
You know
hold
what?
on.
Mr.
Hold
Elway
on.
may think he's a guru. He may end up with
Hold on.
offensive.
No way.
I'll-
They hate each other. No way.
Listen, I'll say this to the death of me, okay? Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. Okay? You see it this year. You're going to continue to see it. I'm telling you. He's not going to be winning 12 games again ever unless he has a top-ranked quarterback in the league. It's not happening.
All right, here's
That's
what I
not-
want to
That's
do.
not true.
Here's what I want to do, Kenny, and we're gonna go Neely, Will, Beelan, and you, Kenny, all right? Because that's how you're on the TV screen here. And we're gonna do quick, rapid fire questions. So here we go. You could be biased if you want, but be as realistic as you are, as you could be. All right? Neely, here we go.
Yep.
Best quarterback right now in the AFC playoffs.
Begins and ends with Mahomes.
Will.
I'd say Mahomes, but I'm putting Allen right up there because if you watch Mahomes, his passes sit up there. And they should have lost last year to San Fran. I don't know how he didn't get picked off.
Okay, but you're going to go Mahomes? Your answer?
I'll say Mahomes.
Okay, Beelan.
I'm sticking with Mahomes until Mahomes.
Kenny.
We're going now. We're not going as a career, right?
Allen's
Oh, no,
there.
right now. Like, who's the best quarterback right
I'll say Mahomes because I haven't seen Allen, but by what Will was saying, I want to see Allen, and I may change my mind next week. when I see
Okay. Sis is also saying the Allen can beat you with his feet, and Vinny's saying Josh Allen. Vinny's picking Josh. All right, Neely, who's the best coach left in the AFC playoffs?
It's Andy Reid, but I'm gonna say if I'm starting a team today, it's gonna be Mike Vrabel.
No, I don't want. I want best right now. Who do you have the
Andy
most
Reid.
confidence?
Andy Reid.
Will.
I love Andy Reid. I've always have. He's a great guy.
Beelan.
Co-sign.
No, I'm
Kenny?
disagreeing. Will's gonna like this one. I've been a Sean McDermott fan since day one, and they just keep getting better every year. And I think this is the year that they go far into the playoffs. So I think he is the best coach and most underrated coach in the NFL.
I agree. He's the most underrated, and I really like him. But Andy Reid's just been around so long.
But
All
Andy
right.
Reid, though, he did it before last year, guys. What did he do in the playoffs? He always choked. So he made.
So did the Bills in the 90s. That doesn't
Whoa!
make them a
Whoa!
bad team.
Uh-oh. By the way, Vinny's saying the Will should be a Chiefs fan. Jeez.
you put Pat Mahomes away from Andy Reid. Andy Reid ain't winning anything.
Andy
Oh.
Reid
He
won
got
a
to the
lot of
Super
games,
Bowl.
man.
That's what anybody.
That's a hot take.
He
got to
won
the
a lot
Super
of
Bowl.
games, Kenny.
Yeah.
He won a lot of games.
I'm going Sean McDermott.
All right, here we go. Neely, who's got the best defense in the AFC playoffs?
I think the Colts.
Will.
I'm looking over here. Maybe the Ravens.
Beelan, you agree with that one?
Mm-hmm. Ravens I'm gonna say the Ravens slightly over the Bills.
Kenny.
Ravens. If you asked me a month ago, it would have been Steelers hands down. But with those injuries,
Yeah.
that really turned that team around.
All
I'm
right.
going to go Ravens. Ravens.
Okay, this is I know this question's a little different this year because there's no really true home field with fans and stuff, but who has the best home field and where do you not want to play? What stadium do you not want to play in? Neely.
I don't want to go to New England. Oh, wait, that doesn't count this year, right?
Right, it doesn't count this year.
I'm going to stick with Kansas City. I don't want to go there. You know, we beat them once in the postseason, and then we lost to them. We dropped a 10-point lead. We spotted them a 10-point lead, and you know, I know they will have fans this year. I know Buffalo will have fans. I know Nashville will have fans. I don't know if everybody will. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to have fans.
So the best home field advantage this playoff will be who, though?
Yeah,
in
it's the
AFC?
Chiefs.
Will?
Buffalo.
I think Buffalo too, man. Those fans. How many years has it been since their last home playoff game?
Too damn long.
Those
even
fans
know.
are going to be nuts.
Yeah, and it's only 6,700, so it's going to be loud. The only thing with this playoff, besides Indy, everybody's up plays in the elements, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Point.
it's not a big thing.
Beelan.
I will say that, but one thing I will say, Buffalo. The only difference between Buffalo and KC is that I believe Buffalo plays on turf, and KC plays on grass.
And the wind's up
So,
in Buffalo.
If it's cold, that plays a little tricky. I mean, you try running with cleats on hard grass.
Shoot,
not that
Kurt,
Yes.
one thing for you, I want to see Josh Allen play in the elements. He really did. When there's been windy and stuff, he struggled a little.
Okay.
That's one thing I would want to see him before I pay him $35 million.
Okay. And you know what's weird too is that I was going to say a big strength of his was because they're saying with his strong arm, he played in Wyoming, that he was a cold weather quarterback, which is important this time of the day, you know, so. But that's important because, hey, that's the kind. Listen, you're not going to have 70-degree weather in Buffalo for the next 10 years. In this time, you know, you're going to have these cold nights, these cold days. So he's going to have to come through with that. Kenny, what about you? Best home field?
I'm going to go Buffalo. I've been there. It wasn't a playoff game, but I will say this: like if the elements, I would not want to be a team going into Buffalo if the elements are there, the snow, the wind. Right. Well, the reason why the stadium's below ground is because of the wind.
Those are the wins, they say. Yeah, and you get
I've
them all.
been there. I will say this, and I mean this: they have the most loyal and nicest fans when you go in as an enemy.
Yeah.
I went years ago with my ex-girlfriend and her family. They're all diehard Buffalo Bills fans. I went with my Giants stuff on, friendly, joking around, but no trash talking, like friendly trash talking, but everybody was down to earth and fun. And the Giants ended up winning that game, and I didn't even know I was in enemy
Fun.
territory.
That Bills Mafia be throwing people through tables lit on. Come on, get out of here. Those people are nuts.
Listen, I was up there. I think it was like 2009 when the Jets ran all over the Bills like that. They ran for like 400 yards a game. The one thing that disturbed me at that stadium, and I don't know if they still have it, the urinals. It's like this one big long like
trough.
Like Cameron Indoor.
It was disturbing. Like I'm like, if you're at the one side of it, you're like seeing it's like all like pee coming down. It's like
I don't remember that. I did go one time, and it was with my buddy. He was a Raider fan, and the Bills ended up coming back and winning. And I almost got into a fight with Bills fans because they were talking smack to him. It's like, come on, man. We won the game.
I think, Will, I
Be
think that
humble.
place is going to be crazy this weekend, though. It's just going to be
Oh, I
nuts
bet.
over there. It's going to be nuts. All right, so
Did-
two more.
Hold on. Did you see they pretty much chased Governor Cuomo from it?
Well, he wanted to go to the game, didn't he? So
And
he's
they
not
put a
going
petition
now.
together, and he's not going.
He's not
he
going.
said,
I
"We don't
did
want
see
you
that.
here."
I did see that. All right, so here we go. Now, be honest. You're down 4 points. All right, you're down 4 points. 2 minutes left, minute 50 left in the game. What quarterback in the AFC playoffs do you want right now getting that touchdown? 2 minutes left in the game.
Where
I'm
are we?
stick-
Neely's up.
I'm sticking with my guy. I'm sticking with my guy Tannehill. He's put together some
I like
great
that.
comebacks, and
I like that. That's a fan.
yeah,
Beat bias. I love
I'm
it.
sticking with my guy here.
Love it.
Will, what about you sticking with your guy, Will?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many comebacks in the fourth quarter he has, but it's up there. The guy comes back, so I'm sticking with him.
Beelan.
Where are we with the football?
You're getting the ball on the 25, 30-yard line. You got to go 70 yards.
You know what? Lamar Jackson.
Is he gonna run it, John?
Yeah. I'm going to break for a 50-yarder in the first play of the game.
Okay.
Kenny, where you
Agree.
going?
A little wait.
Josh Allen, and I'll tell you why. His arm strength.
Kenny, Will, how much you
And
paying
his
Kenny?
feet,
Wait,
like
wait, how much is
sister.
Will paying Kenny tonight? Kenny's answering every Buffalo answer tonight.
Yeah, until tomorrow when I go on Wilt's show and I joke around. with
Yeah,
him.
they joke around. You
No,
know,
no,
you know what's
in all
sad? If
seriousness.
Jim was on here tonight, he'd be saying Mahomes.
All joking aside, we don't have to say Mahomes. If I want to go somebody else, I'm going to go Josh Allen because of his arm. If you need 50 or 60 yards, he can throw the ball downfield and his feet. So he's mobile. So I'm going to take that over Ben Roethlisberger, who's not mobile. Tannehill doesn't. He runs, but he's not, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I'm going to take the arm. I'm going to take Allen with the feet. So if you need him to run, he gets you 20 yards. And if you need the deep pass, he throws the ball for 30, 40 yards.
Vinny's saying Josh Allen has 8 fourth-quarter comebacks. Kenny, Stephen Waldman is not a fan. He's on the Mahomes hate bandwagon tonight. He's saying Mahomes falters this time. So, okay, and here's the last one I got for you. Give me an X factor in the AFC playoffs this year. No quarterbacks. Give me a name that's going to be the difference, whether it's your team or like Beelan, just an AFC team in general in the playoffs. Who's an X factor?
I think the running back from the Colts is gonna, be an X factor.
Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor. Because I think Rivers is over the hill. He doesn't like to get hit. I mean, nobody does, but he doesn't like to get hit. He's very uncomfortable in the pocket, and I think that if Jonathan Taylor, I could see him going off for 150. Last week, he beat out Henry last week. Henry put up 250. This guy put up 255. The kid's good,
Yep.
real good.
Will,
Let me see here.
you just
I don't
ruined
wanna-
Will's day by saying Jonathan Taylor.
Sorry, Will.
No,
You're
I
really-
said in the beginning, they need to stop them. If they're going to win this game, they need to stop that run. I'm going to go Tannehill. It's up to 10. I think this game's going to come down to the passing rate. Whoever could pass better, and Lamar Jackson, he does it with his feet. 2 years with 1,000 yards. That means he's not throwing the ball. If Tannehill can control, complete those passes when he needs them, they win the game.
Beelan, X factor in the AFC playoffs.
Ravens running game.
Okay.
Including your quarterback.
J.K. Dobbins. You guys
Dobbins
gotta
does
watch
look. Listen, Dobbins does look good though, man. I will give him that. He's a good back. Kenny,
was-
X factor.
What was the question? I missed it. I was texting somebody.
X factor in the AFC playoffs.
Oh, and wait, hold on. And Kurt always preaches this, okay? If you run the ball and you play defense, you'll win the games. The Ravens can run the ball and they have a defense.
They do.
So-
Beelan, they do. And you know what?
So I'm just
That's why
going. I'm just going because of what Kurt said.
They're a fear. Listen, I fear that team. I
You
do
want my
fear
X
them.
factor? I got one for you.
Go ahead.
I I'm super excited about the AFC playoffs. I can't believe I'm saying that as an NFC guy.
I'm not.
It's going to come down, and I feel bad for you, Rob, field goal kickers in these playoffs. Watch out for Justin Tucker. Watch out for your guy down there. Is pretty good. Will Bass has had a decent year. Watch out for the field goal kickers in the playoffs. Going to have a lot of close games, and missed field goals are going to hurt teams in the playoffs.
Vinny saying Poyer has a chip on his shoulder for not being selected to the Pro Bowl. Okay.
The Chiefs got a good one. You know, it's going to come down to field goal kickers in these playoffs, guys.
All right, moment of truth. Moment of truth. Neely, give me the AFC. What's going to be the AFC championship game, and who's getting out of the AFC?
I mean, I'm going to go Titans Chiefs, and the only way I get that is by the Colts beating the Bills. So I'm sorry, Will. And I'm going to stick with my guys. And I'll bet Johnny a bag of pistachio nuts that the Titans go further than the Bills. Not the Bills, the Ravens this postseason.
Okay. You could do that. That's fine. Vinny's saying KC Bills. Will, what do you got? AFC title game, and who's going?
I'd say KC Bills.
And who's going?
Buffalo.
Vinny's saying the same thing. Beelan, here we go. Two people to put.
I have a
team.
question though.
Okay.
Who would KC play next round?
KC's going to play the lowest seed.
Lowest. So
The
it would be the
lowest.
Colts if the Colts
If
won.
the Colts win, they go. If
so Colts
Buffalo
lose.
cannot play them. Buffalo can't play them next round.
So when Colts lose, who do they play?
Then it would be the Browns, or if the Browns lose,
Right, it goes like that.
then it would be the Titans.
So the Titans, actually, it's going to be the Bills Titans in the playoffs.
All right.
And who's getting out? Who's going?
Buffalo. Come on now.
Beelan, Beelan, you got to break this tie up here because you're not picking the Jets, Beelan, are you?
Jets.
Well, it's your team. These guys pick their teams. You pick who you going with. AFC
Steelers,
title
Ravens.
game first.
Steelers, Ravens.
Oof.
And champion and your team going to the Super Bowl is who?
Baltimore Ravens.
He's just saying that to get me fired up, but I'm not getting fired up tonight. Kenny, you got the final word on this one of who's going.
I will back John up. The Ravens are hot. I think the winner of the Titans-Ravens game is going to make a deep run in the playoffs. Will stole my thunder. I was going to go Bills-Titans, return of Music City Miracle in Buffalo.
That was a forward pass. Forward pass.
I watched
No
it on
flag.
YouTube yesterday.
Yeah, Kurt, I know we got a rapid-fire question I want to ask in a second, but I'll flip a coin, imaginary coin. Heads, I got the Bills winning 17-14 in the championship.
Vinny's saying only way KC plays Buffalo is AFC Championship game, and Steven's saying Buffalo Seahawks Super Bowl bound. So that's his.
That's what I said.
That's
I
where he's
got a
going.
rapid fire question, Kurt.
Go ahead.
I'll start this one with Neely because it's got to end with Will. It's for the two of them only. Toughest loss as a Titans fan.
Oh, it's got to be the Super Bowl to the
Of
Rams.
course.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you my second one, Kenny.
Yep.
My second one is 2000 to the Ravens. We got the field goal blocked. Al Del Greco, my favorite Titan of all time, goes to kick the game winner, and it gets blocked. I mean, 2001 was brutal. And the Ravens that year, that game, they returned that Al Del Greco block for a touchdown. They returned a Ray Lewis pick six for a touchdown to beat us 24-10. That is the reason I hate the Ravens more than any team in our division.
Will, I know I've been waiting all week for this answer because I don't know which way you're going to go, and I just don't know which way you're going to go. Toughest loss as a Bills fan. I think there's two.
Oh, there's got to be one. Come on.
Frank
It's-
Wycheck. There's no
it's-
flags. There's no flags.
That was horrible, by the way. I'd say the Giants Super Bowl
Got to
No,
be that.
Yeah.
because
But the Music City Miracle had to be close, though, right?
that was up there. My thing with the Giants kick, I watched, by the way, I was younger, and I watched every Super Bowl by myself in my room because I was one of those hostile fans. So if you were talking smack to me, I probably would have smacked you in the mouth. So I watched it upstairs. And when they lined up,
Vinny
I
just
said
said wide right, by the way.
oh, great.
Oh.
I knew if it was on turf, Scott Norwood would have kicked that, would have made it. grass, the guy really couldn't kick on grass. He wasn't that good. I don't even know if he was 50%. So I knew. I was like, this is not definite. And by the way, I think Kenny's not going to like the Bills as much because what Joe Judge said, if I was the GM, I would have been like, shut your mouth.
Yeah, you
win
did
the
say you had a
games.
comment on that.
I would have said, shut your mouth, win your games. Don't rely on Philly or Washington to lose for you to get in the playoffs.
Agree 1,000,000%.
would've
You
said
know
that.
what he did, Will? He recreated the Giants-Eagles rivalry, though. That's what I like.
No, he did.
Yeah, I guess, but it just made it, to me, it looked bad.
I get how you say. I
You
didn't
know?
look at it like he was saying we needed you to win. I just, I get what you're saying. I do.
Win your games.
Kenny, I got one more question for Will because you mentioned he bought the Super Bowl 25, I believe it was, with the Giants.
Okay.
You win that game, Will.
Mhm.
Do you guys win another one of those Super Bowls?
The only one I thought we were looking good was the second game against the Cowboys. We were going in with the lead at halftime, and then they switched their defense. They started playing nickel and prevent, and I was like, what are you guys doing? If the defense kept you in it the first half, why change? That's why watching games when people start playing prevent defense, like with 6-7 minutes left, I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. It's crazy.
And the Bills did it many times this year before half and gave up a touchdown or a field goal. I'm like, stop it. Just play the defense that got you there.
It's crazy.
And
Kenny-
that miracle was a forward pass.
My last thing real quick was you said you were a hostile fan 4 in a row. I hate to see your family after that third and fourth.
Well, the only thing is, my brother Oz, who comments on the show, he's a Cowboy fan. And most of my friends were Giant fans.
Oh.
So I was like, I was just getting beat
You were
up,
getting
you know?
destroyed all over.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just bad.
Neely, real quick, Neely, before we go, plug your little salts and all your spices you got going on.
Yeah, so I love to cook. Johnny's a customer. I'm president of the fan club. Basically, I grow everything. I smoke everything. I grind everything. It's basically like weed for people that cook, you know? I got salts. I got rosemary. I got spice rubs. I just started launching a Reaper dust out of Carolina Reapers that I grew. Yeah, that's some
Bring
good
that on
stuff.
the show for Kurt.
With that.
Here it is.
So,
There's the for Kurt.
no fillers. Come get it.
And then,
By the way, Neely.
and then Will Cologne, Viva Los Bills. Thank you for joining us as well. Tomorrow 7:30, right, Will?
Yep, 7:30.
I-95
Usually come on right behind after you guys.
YouTube, Facebook, great show. Check out the Builds, Mafia, Viva Los Builds. Him and Vinny do a great job.
And you know what we're
Thanks,
going to do, Kenny? Here's what we're doing, because we talked about for next week, we want to have one person each from whatever teams are left. So hopefully you two guys are left and you want to come back on. So
Well, sounds good.
let's go.
Real quick, did you guys ever see that one documentary? I don't know. I think it was on ESPN. And they were saying, Kenny Davis, I don't know if you remember, Kenny, especially the Giant Bills game. They said there was a chopper, state trooper chopper, in the end zone, flying low above the field goal post when they kicked that. I never heard that until I watched that special. And I was like, I wonder.
I wouldn't put it past them for sure. You know, that there were the special winds in the tunnel, in the old Giant Stadium.
Yeah, but it wasn't played there.
Yeah.
The top of the flags would be blowing east, but the wind would be blowing west.
Neely's going to like this one. We got an Austin Cardo saying, tighten up. There's
My cousin, he's a member of the military, by the way. He's in the
saying,
Navy.
tighten up.
Thanks for your service.
That's good.
All right, so Mr. Kirkpatrick, we're going to take a minute break while we're going to bring in Coach Breslin to talk a little NFC playoffs.
Again, Will and Neely, thank you for joining on our new
Got it, guys.
format.
Thanks, guys.
You guys win next week and you want to join us next week, or even if you lose and you want to vent, feel free to come on next week as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully you don't.
And Will, I'll be seeing you tomorrow night, you and Vinny on Viva Los Builds. I'll be commenting in after our show.
All right,
I'll
we're
see
gonna
you
take
guys. I'll be watching here.
Awesome. Guys, we'll take 1 minute break. Kenny Beelin's going to stay with us. We're going to bring Coach Breslin and do the same thing with the NFC. Neely,
Awesome.
Thank you. Will, thank you.
See you guys. Thanks. See you, Beelan.
right now.
You got
Awesome.
the floor, right, Kurt?
All right, and we are back. Coach Breslin, the man, the happy Washington Redskin fan. Coach Breslin, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm very excited to have the Redskins back in the playoffs for the first time in a while.
Yep.
Looking forward to seeing them perform. Absolutely, it's exciting.
Let's get your point, because we were talking a little bit with comments, but you're on air, so we'll give it to you. What's your thoughts on this whole Giant Eagle? The Giants, the Eagles should have played the game to make it fair for the Giants. What's your whole thoughts on that?
Well, again, and I made the comment before during the show too. If I'm a player, I'm really mad because you play to win games. As an organization, I guess the question was, what are they doing with Carson Wentz? If he is someone who they're going to get rid of, is somebody from the top saying, do we really want to get Jalen Hurts hurt and put him at risk moving forward if we're moving on from Carson Wentz? That would be the only possible situation. I'm thinking, could they have tanked? There are plenty of teams that do, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To get what was going to be 3 picks better for them.
Yeah, I think it was from 9 to 6 or something like that.
Correct. And that's, that could be a big time player for them, or somebody that they were looking at or had a good idea that they may want to get. Maybe it's a lineman, maybe it's one of the top receivers. But at the end of the day, in either situation, they all had opportunities to win their games. Daniel Jones, unfortunately, ended up getting hurt. That hurt the Giants. The Redskins ended up beating the Steelers, which was a big game for them that put them with the extra game over the top for them. But again, who's making those decisions for the Eagles? Now, Doug Peterson's, like Beelan said on the show, he's taking all the heat, but was somebody else telling him that they also wanted, to put the other guy in?
I'm telling you, you guys got to go back, Coach. And Don LaGreca and Keyshawn Johnson had an awesome – they were screaming at each other yesterday, but he was making a great point because Don LaGreca was saying that Peterson should have sat the team down and said, this is what we're going to do. Basically, we are going to tank. We are going to do, and Keyshawn said, you cannot do that. Like, if the league found out, one of those players said, hey, our coach came to us and said, fourth quarter, we're going to lose this game, or we're going to start taking guys out, they'd be fining them left and right. Like, you just can't do that as a coach. They said it can't happen.
Well, I don't disagree. And again, you know what? We're in a tough situation, right? We're in COVID protocol. So these guys are fighting for their lives. They don't see their family. They're working out. They want to win the game, no matter what. At the end of the day. Plus, the guys who are trying to perform to get contracts for the following year, they want to win. They want to put their product out there to say, you know what? I want to get another contract. So as a player, they want to win games. That's the bottom line. That's what they're paid to do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
My question to Coach and you, Kurt, because you coached as well, and me as well, Beelan, you can answer too if you've got anything. Peterson's comments was, well, Sudfeld was there all year for us. Now, you just said COVID year. Do you let the guy play? You're 4-11. He's been there all year. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's gone to every meeting, gone to every practice, never complained. Do you give him that shot in the fourth? Me personally, I don't know. But that thought does cross my head. Is Peterson actually throw him in there in the fourth quarter because he was there all year?
Well, I'll answer you with this then. But then you know what, though, Kenny? Did they take the 5 offensive linemen out? Did he put the third string?
No,
They didn't do that. So, why is it the quarterback?
I'm not sticking up for the Eagles. I just brought something up.
Right. So,
Coach, we're not here for the Eagles-Giants talk with Coach Breslin.
Yeah, Coach, so let's do this. So let's get to happy times. You guys are back in.
Leader behind him.
What we're gonna do, Coach, is you're gonna give your pros on why they can beat an upset. I think they're like under a touchdown underdog at home against Brady and Tampa Bay. But you know what? Why you guys can go on a little run? You do your pros. We got our downer, Mr. Beelan, to attack your pros with some You know, because I know he's going to pick Tampa. But the floor is yours. What excites you about him, and why can this team win in the postseason?
Again, I know you and I have talked about this before, and I know Beelan brought it up, about defense. But I think no matter what, if they are going to truly have an opportunity to win this game, one of the keys is going to be stopping their run game and stopping Ronald Jones. If they can stop Ronald Jones from running the football and make it a situation where they become one-dimensional and they're going to force Brady to, drop back in the pocket, 40 times in that game, then I think they have an opportunity to let those four guys up front just take off and get after them, try to keep them in the pocket, put pressure on them. If you look at some of the stats, this year, the games where he's lost games is when he's been sacked 3 or more times. Their offensive line has been performing very, very well. So we'll see, but I think that's going to be the key to the game. And then in the secondary, if they're going to be able to cover Evans and Godwin and Antonio Brown. But I think if they can get pressure on Brady and force him away from his spot and, make him throw quickly, I think that's going to be the key to the game, number one, from a defensive side of the view. On the offensive side, they're banged up, right? So Antonio Gibson is hurt. McLaren is hurt. We don't know how much, they were talking about, I was reading in the paper the other day where there's a possibility that both quarterbacks
I
could
heard
be
that
playing.
today. Yep, I heard that today.
Because of the fact that, if their line has any trouble blocking some of these guys, because Tampa Bay's defense is pretty darn good too, they may switch over to the other guy to, because he's a little bit more mobile. So we'll have to see how that, plays out.
How many points do you think you need to score this game?
Oh, I think we need to score about, I would say between 21 to 28 points, only because, Brady puts up points. They do put up points. So in order to win, I think they're going to have to score between 21 to 28 points to win.
Okay, Beelan, you heard Coach talk. What do you, anything you want to say that agree or disagree, especially, Redskins going this week against Brady and Tampa Bay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he nailed it on the head. I think they really need to stop the run. I think the Bucks want to probably give, Tom Brady maybe 20 passes at most. I think if they can just run the ball and just take it out of Brady's hands as much as possible, I think that's probably their game plan. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like, they got, what's his name? Sweat, right? And Chase Young.
Yep.
I mean, if those guys can still get into him and even disrupt Brady, I mean, you guys know how Brady, he gets shaky boots, when he's in the pocket sometimes. So it's weird. It's weird with him. I mean, over the years, I've seen different Bradys, especially from Jet games too. But I don't know. I think mainly, their ideal game plan is to go in there and run the ball. And if they can stop them from that and put it in Brady's hands, at the end of the day, it's still Tom Brady. Got to give him the dude, he's a legend in the game. But I think their game plan is to go in there and run the ball. I think that's what their game plan is. And we'll see. I mean, we'll see how they do. I think they're going to come right out of the gate, start and run. And they do it every game, too. Like, you'll see Ronald Jones, like, running 60-yard runs. It's just like, so if they can stop that, I think they need to score a little more. I think they probably need to score like anything between like 25 to 30 points, maybe even more than that. I don't even know. But Brady's different in the playoffs, man. He's way different in the playoffs. So,
I agree.
Coach Kenny, real quick, with the one thing though that they have going for him, and Beelan hit on the head where he's, in the especially in the postseason, and when Brady does have problems, is the front four can get to him. They don't have to send 5 and 6, and when your front four can get to him, like Kenny, you did it with the Super Bowl with Strahan and those guys. You guys didn't blitz a lot. Your front four got to him, and now you got 7 guys
to coach.
And you know what? Your Washington front four is pretty damn sick, Coach. I mean,
without a doubt, they are. They can put.
Young are incredible, and if they get to Brady, you're going to have 7 guys back in coverage.
Right.
Good luck, Brady.
Yeah. Well, they have 4 first-round draft picks. You know,
Yeah.
Payne and
Payne.
those guys are first-round draft picks from Alabama too, so they're really good.
Guys, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. 2 minutes.
Okay. Coach Breslin, what I want to go over you, I want to do a little rapid fire with you around the NFC playoffs.
Okay.
All right. So, Kenny, you'll answer until Beelan comes back, but we'll start this. Who's the best quarterback in the NFC playoffs?
Oh, I think Aaron Rodgers, without a doubt.
Kenny.
Agreed. Aaron Rodgers, MVP as well this year.
I agree with you. He's just, I mean, it's crazy. There was
You
a
can
stat.
argue Russell Wilson, but Aaron Rodgers with he didn't have Adams almost half the year, and like the
And
guys.
here's the key. And here's the key. Aaron Rodgers at home throughout the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. And their run game is not that good to begin with, right?
Yep. Aaron Rodgers is legit. All right, who's the best coach in the NFC playoffs left?
I think, you know what? I think it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Pete Carroll, only because Sean Payton, you know what? He's won a Super Bowl too. They've both won a Super Bowl. But I think when it comes crunch time, I think Pete Carroll does a phenomenal job.
I'll go. You know what? I'm going to second that with you. Pete. I would have said Sean Payton 2 years ago, but you know what? When you have 2 home playoff games in your building, and the lead in both of them, and you blow that, I mean, listen, that's on him a little bit.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Pete Carroll. What about you, Kenny?
I'm going to clean sweep it, but Coach, your Mr. Rivera is high on my list, above Sean Payton. What he's done there this
I
year.
like Ron Rivera as well. I really do, and obviously, you know, he got them to the Panthers to the Super Bowl, and I think he's going to do a phenomenal job there. But at the end of the day, right now, over the course of time, Pete Carroll's been one of the better ones.
Just what he's done this year, he's had cancer, and he's had Alex Smith and the quarterback controversies all he's going to deal with. To get that team to play and be in the playoffs, that's why he's ahead of Sean Payton in my book.
Yep.
Okay. Coach, who's the best defense in the NFC?
Well, I was actually, when you were asking the AFC guys, I started to look that up, and obviously I want to be biased towards the Redskins, but basically when you look it up in some of the stats, the Saints have a very, very good defense on the NFC side. So as much as I want to say the Redskins, based on some of the stats and everything that's out there, the Saints are pretty darn good. So I'm going to have to go with the Saints.
Kenny, by the way, Dale Panulo, before the Dark Punisher comes after you, he's saying, no way, Andy Reid. He just joined us. So this is just NFC talk right now. So we're covered. We're just talking NFC right now. Okay. Go ahead, Kenny.
Washington has the best front 4, but as a whole, I'm going to go somebody different. The Rams are sneaky.
They are.
Aaron Donald, Floyd.
That's Beelan's
Ramsey.
team.
But we all know who their quarterback is. But you said defense.
Best defense.
Okay.
Different.
I'm gonna go Rams.
All right. So let me do this, Coach. Before I continue, I want to catch up with Beelan. I got 3 quick hitters for you. Beelan, who's the best quarterback in the NFC playoffs? We all said Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, I'm a sweep it. Let's go Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Best coach in the NFC playoffs. We both had, me and Coach had Pete Carroll, and Sean Payton were the 1-2, and Kenny went. Did you go Rivera, Kenny?
I went Pete Carroll, Ron Rivera as my 1-2.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say Pete Carroll, but I like Bruce Arians. I like the guy, man. He's got some fire with him. So.
Okay. Best defense in the NFC.
Man, it's a little toughy too. I'll pick one team. I'm gonna go with the Redskins.
All right. Coach went with the Saints. I'm gonna go with Coach on the Saints. Kenny went with the Rams, and you're going with the Redskins. All right, Coach Breslin. Who's the best? I think this is the easiest one on the board. The best home field advantage. Where do you not want to play a game?
Oh, nobody wants to play in Green Bay in the cold and the snow. That's going to be tough for anybody to go there. And to tell you the truth, I only think there's one team that can actually go there and win, and that's Tampa Bay.
Beelan.
If it had home field all year, Seattle.
Okay.
That weather's tricky. I know I understand the snow, but in the cold, but people play in the cold. The snow is not always there. So Seattle, it's
That
always
rainy,
windy
misty.
and it's always rainy. So
Okay, that's a good one. Kenny,
If they had their fans.
if they
I'm
had
with
their
Coach with
fans.
I'm with Coach with Green Bay, and I'm with Coach with Tampa Bay because the year the Giants went into Green Bay and beat them, I said to myself, the Giants are like one of the only teams that can go into Green Bay and win. So Tampa's built, I think, to beat that kind of team if they get there. And that might be a second round matchup if Tampa beats Washington and
Yes.
the Saints beat everybody else wins. That could be a second round matchup.
But I got one for Coach. So, Coach, what do we always say on the show? What wins? Running the ball and defense, right? And
That's
run
right.
defense. And you
And
know
run
what,
it.
though? The Packers have shown that NFC Championship last year and a couple games this year, they get torched. I mean, they give up 250 and 300 yards rushing sometimes. So that's the way you have to win in the
Raheem
cold.
Mostert on the map.
What happened?
They put Raheem Mostert on the map.
I know, and you know what? This year it happened again. I think it was in Tampa when they went, and Ronald Jones went nuts, and so.
And that's why I think the team that can beat them is Tampa Bay because they are physical. They could run the ball, play action, and Green Bay will struggle a little bit running the football.
Yep. And that's like saying it's the same thing with New Orleans. Like I'm high on New Orleans. You got Kamara, you got those guys, but do you trust them going into 22-degree weather in Lambeau? Like they don't play well on the road. They don't play well in cold weather. So
you got cold weather, grass, and
yeah, a real bad matchup.
All those elements on a turf indoor team.
Okay.
They need the home field advantage more than anybody.
All right, here we go. You're down 4 points, Coach. Down 4 points, 2 minutes left. What quarterback in the NFC playoffs do you want?
Tom Brady.
You know what? There's 3 damn good ones. There's 3 damn good ones.
There are a bunch of good ones.
I'm thinking Brady. Well, I even think Breeze, but you got Brady. You got Wilson, Rodgers. That's tough, man. Who you going, Beelan?
It is tough. I mean, clear shot out of the gate. It's got to be Brady just because of experience. But you can never knock Russell Wilson. Man.
I know.
Russell Wilson, and you got to remember, like, out of all those quarterbacks, you got to look at his weapons. He doesn't have like ideal weapons, not ideal. He doesn't have like Metcalf, starting to be the top tier A guy, but you're talking about Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, like Russell Wilson's thrown to, TJ Lockett and David Moore and Greg Olson, and stuff like, so
Metcalf is pretty good though, too.
He is, but like when you're talking about Michael Thomas and Adams and everybody, it's like, it's crazy. So I also think Russell Wilson is up in that spot too.
Yep.
Kenny, who you going?
I'm with Beelan on Russell Wilson, and I'll explain why real quick. I'll use Chase Young as an example. You got Chase Young running after you. Brady's going to get sacked. Rodgers is probably going to get sacked. Breeze is going to get sacked. Wilson may be able to escape that. Maybe. So that's why I would go Russell Wilson over the other 3 guys. If a defensive guy is running after him, Aaron Donald, Chase Young, Wilson can get away possibly from that, where the other guys, I think, would have to throw the ball out of bounds or take the sack.
Okay. And give me an X factor in the playoffs, Coach.
X factor. I'm going to go back to what I said before. I think the X factor is Ronald Jones from the Bucs.
Beelan.
It's toughy. I want to pick one, but I'm going to pick the other. I'm going to say Alvin Kamara.
Kenny?
I'm going to go with – I got to go one guy, right? It's going to be somebody on the Buccaneers who you're not thinking of. This could be the time for Gronkowski to show up.
That's his boy. You know, I mean, he's going to go to him in the
We
clutch.
all
isn't
said
he?
Evans, Godwin, Ronald Jones, Gronkowski on the Buccaneers.
All right, and one more question, Coach. We'll start us off. Give us the NFC Championship game and who's going to the Super Bowl from the NFC.
I'm going Packers and the Seahawks. And I think the Packers go to the Super Bowl.
Because they're home?
Because they're home.
Beelan.
Packers, Saints,
And who goes?
Packers.
I'm with you, Beelan. I'm going Packers, Saints, and I think the Packers at home, they're going to be too hard. They're going to be so hard to beat in Lambeau. Mr. Kirkpatrick.
I want to go different just to be different. But I think, see, Coach, the reason why I can't go different is I think Washington's going to beat Tampa. If Tampa can get by Washington, they're going to go really far in these playoffs and upset Green Bay if they play Green Bay next week. But I'll go Packers, Seahawks as well, and I'll go Packers. But Tampa's going to have their tough – if Tampa can get by Washington, they're going to make a deep run in these playoffs.
All right.
Yeah.
Coach Breslin, anything else on you? Let me ask you this. What, as a coach, how we were talking about Alex Smith with the calf injury. Obviously, you want him in the game. You feel more comfortable than a younger kid. But what do you when do you go to that second kid?
I think if they're struggling offensively and they're putting pressure on and they're struggling blocking those guys up front, they're going to have to do something to spark the offense, and they're going to have to make a change.
Now, what if the defense is key? What if your defense, like, what if it's say a 6-3 game, a 10-6 game? Do you?
Oh no, then I'm not switching.
Then you're not. Even if you're not really moving the ball, your defense though is keeping you in that game. You're going to roll the dice and say Alex Smith is going to have one drive to win that game late instead of putting the young kid in.
I'll give you a prime example. Right, 2001 state championship game. Ryan Pizzari is our starting corner against Wayne Hills. He is cramping left and right, and he's limping. Coach, my leg, I'm dying out here. I said, Ryan, 80% of you is better than anybody else that we have.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Stick with me, buddy, and we won.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with him.
And you know what? You think about it, and then you can't. Like, you put the young kid in, he turns it over. Now, now it's like you got to, I agree with you. Roll the dice, and, hey, if I'd rather have one drive. If my defense can keep me in that game, one drive that Alex Smith can go and get a touch, you know what I'm saying? Then, I don't know. I agree with you. I'm doing that. Anything else, NFC, Beelan? Anything else for Coach?
Go Redskins.
Kenny.
That's it. Let's go.
What? You know what? Give me a
That's
prediction.
Saturday
We
night.
didn't ask him the most important thing. What's your prediction? Give me a prediction for your game. That's Saturday night, isn't it?
I believe it's.
I think it's the 8 o'clock game. I think it's the 8 o'clock game.
Listen, I'm going to be biased. I want them to win. So I'm going to go, and I said they needed 28 to win. So I'm going to go 28 Redskins, 24 Buccaneers.
My prediction, close to Coach, 27-23 Washington, because I said this is Tampa's going to be tough for this challenge. If Washington gets a defensive touchdown or a turnover very deep into Tampa's territory, Washington wins the game. They win the turnover battle. They win that game with a major, there needs to be a special teams touchdown or something in that order, a big defensive turnover, and Washington will win the game.
Okay.
Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate being
Look
on.
forward to Saturday night. I'm in Washington country, so it's very exciting down
Yes,
here
you
for
are.
everybody.
Coach, we'll be sending the text on Saturday night. I'm pulling for you because, my love, I don't have a lot of love for Mr. Brady, so I will be rooting for the Redskins. And that's it.
Awesome.
I
Thank
like
you.
how we all said Redskins, but it is, realistically the football team, but we still know them as the Redskins.
By the way, Coach Breslin, did you see Chase Young's comments again? Beelan, did you see him today? He doubled down. The other night he said, "I'm coming for you, Tom." And he said they interviewed him again, and he said, "I'm not backing down from my comments.
Yeah, love
I'm
it.
going after Chase.
Why-
I'm going after
why-
Tom
why
Brady."
should
It'll
you?
be cold for Mr. Brady, so he's going to have
Absolutely.
his Uggs on. It's going to be in the mid-30s, I think, game time.
Yep. He's not afraid. He's going to get after him.
That's it.
Love it. Thanks again,
Great stuff.
Coach.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All
We'll
right,
talk to
Coach.
you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Coach.
Thank you.
Hopefully with a victory, we'll get you on next week.
That would be nice.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Beelan, here's what we're going to do, because Mr. Beelan is not a Nick fan. We're not going to aggravate any of our Nick fans. So, Mr. Beelan, tomorrow, can you come on our show? Because we're going to make our official picks with spreads, and we're going to do a big college football preview, and we're going to talk a little bit about how wrong I was with the Ohio State Clemson game. So, will you be able to come on?
I think so. I think I should be able to pop on sometime.
All right. So,
Are
Mr.
you talking? Are
We need
you
to
are
rip
you
him
talking?
apart
Hold
on
on.
the Ohio State game. We didn't do that tonight. That's tomorrow.
So you're talking about this?
Mismatch of Justin Fields versus Trevor.
Yes, you can bring that up tomorrow. If you could get audio of that without, listen to me, Bean, I'm going to give you homework tonight. If you could get audio without going 1920 style with the phone, you can put that up tomorrow night. You have a
Oh, I
20,
got that.
You
I
got
play
to
this.
post that
I
up.
play this on repeat.
All right, let's go. Because I was wrong. But we're going to talk Knicks. Thank you, Mr. Beelan.
He wants to talk Knicks with Paul for a few minutes, Beelan. So
We're getting Beelan out of here because he's not a
See you
Knicks
tomorrow
fan.
around 6 p.m.
All right, sounds
Thank
good.
you,
See you
Beelan.
later, John.
Later.
All right.
All right, let me bring in Paul.
By the way, I want to make an official announcement before Paul's coming on. Anytime any of our guests are in the waiting room, I blame Mr. Kirkpatrick because he has full control over the Zoom.
Well, I've been writing to everybody in the waiting room that we've been on good on time. We've been about roughly 5 to 7 minutes. No, we're about 10 minutes late right now, but we were about 5 minutes
That's not
late.
bad. That's average for
I've been
you.
letting all our guests know that we've been running a little late.
Okay.
I've been keeping contact with them.
But I'm just going to say this, Mr. Kirkpatrick, and by the way, thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Oh, welcome.
Hey guys, what's up?
On the screen, you actually have tonight, it says Knicks Talk with Paul Mulvaney. So if you get a chance
that's
to look
awesome.
at it, so the name's on. But I'm fired up because our Knicks were down. What were they down? 16?
15.
15, and they're up by 10 with 47 seconds left, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Oh,
These Knicks
Yeah.
are hot,
against
baby.
another playoff team, nonetheless. Against another playoff team.
Yes, sir. So,
Utah must have come into this pretty. They got demolished last night. So, I mean, it's been close most of the second. Austin Rivers has scored like. I
he's
think
going
scored like
nuts. I'm watching
14
it on the iPad here. He's going nuts.
Like 14 straight points. It's unreal.
Is that
Unreal.
is that a Knicks shirt you got on there?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know
there you
what's
go.
up with Paul. I
There you
got the
go.
Nick hat. You got the Nick shirt. Kurt's being biased over there. And
I'm
he's
being
got the
biased
black-
now.
Is that a black? Is that black, Kurt?
Blue,
What you're wearing, or is it navy blue?
navy blue.
I was gonna say it better not be black because that's the Nets color.
But I'm going to say this, Paul. How fired up are you? I mean, I got my iPad right here. I'm pumped up for Friday night they play, Sunday they play. How fired up are you, Paul, with this team?
Well, they're making it fun to watch, and I mean, I guess it all kind of starts with the coach. I mean, he's got them playing like they care, and the last few years, this was a team that they tanking and this and that, and it's just not a fun team to watch. And you kind of got a glimpse of that in the training camp games. That that this could be. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to go crazy here, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Am I crazy to say this, guys? I'll start with Paul. That this team is reminding you of the '90s Knicks a little bit, like from the coach on down, like from Pat Riley and Jeff Van Gundy, all the way to the players, the way they're playing
Well,
defense.
Kenny, he was part of that staff. Thibodeau was on that staff, like
It's a win. It's officially a win, guys.
that's what I like. That's what I like.
Just how hard they're playing. They're fun to watch. I know I said this last week on the show. If you tell me that they're going to win 20, 25 games, I'm going to watch every game because of how hard they're playing. And everybody's like, oh, you're crazy. Why would you want to watch a 20 to 25 win team? Have you seen this team play? We don't have any max contract guys. We got one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and they're all playing hard. And it's showing, crushing the Bucks a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a great win.
Pacers playoff team, beating the teams on the road. We only have we're 4. What are we? 3-2 or 4-2 on the road?
4-2 now.
Yeah. So just exciting, and then I don't know, Kerry. You want to get into some players?
You
you're
know
running
what,
it.
Paul? I'm going to be like, I guess my first question, and you were texting me before and watching Austin Rivers. Like, that's what, he's got that New York attitude, whether it was his father, he had the same attitude, like that's what New York needs. You don't need that. I'm a superstar, but like he said, man, like we're growing. You're going to see, like he's got that little New York attitude. What's your thoughts on Austin Rivers so far?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of his father because he was a guy in there. Like when his dad played for the Knicks, and I saw his father play a lot with Atlanta and everything. And he was just a guy that was a good leader. He wasn't, he wasn't a superstar player, but he went in there and he did a lot of things well. He was a good point guard, his father, and when he came to the Knicks, it was really to kind of do that same thing, was to provide some leadership to the guys around him. And I haven't seen a whole lot of Austin until this year, but I mean, he really seems to be filling that role. And you like seeing that. And to your point, Ken, I mean, the effort, fans always appreciate effort.
Yep.
So.
And I want to just clear the air with last week, and Beelin's not here to defend them. It's not a defense or anything. I'm defending myself on a statement Beelin made last week about Kurt and I wanting to get rid of Julius Randle. I want to explain why, and Kurt will back me up on this.
Kenny, can I give you his numbers tonight? Kenny, can I give you his numbers?
Please do.
30 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists.
Did I not want him over anybody, over Durant?
Paul, the number one guy he wanted in that free agency that year was Julius Randle. Kenny, that's Kenny's guy.
He wants to be here, he wants to be here, but I said, let's trade him while you can get somebody for him. I did not want him buried on the bench behind Obi Toppin and wasting away, splitting time with Obi Toppin, getting 10 points and 6 rebounds a game, and then you can't get nothing for him at the trade deadline. I said, trade him now while you can get somebody for him if we're rebuilding. But Julius Randle's proven that he wants to be here. Now they're going to have to figure out when Obi Toppin comes back, what are we going to do with Obi Toppin? I think you got to find a way to get them both in the game at the same time. But I wanted to clear the air that was the reason why I wanted to trade Julius Randle, not because I wanted to get rid of him because of his numbers. I always knew the talent was there with him, and now I'm glad it's coming out, and Thibodeau's using him the way he's using him.
Paul, you texted me about Quickly tonight, only 6 minutes. Did he get injured, or they just didn't play him?
I think what happened, because I didn't see. I tuned in late in the first quarter, and I think Peyton was just playing so well that he just stuck with them.
Okay.
And then Rivers just took off in the fourth quarter. So I was a little disappointed about that, because Quickly was such a big factor in the last win that, I guess he's just going to have to kind of earn his minutes and everything with I mean, I really don't see Peyton as a big part of the future with this team. So
I agree. I agree. I
But-
agree. Now let me ask you this: do you think? Because I made this comment the other day, and I think I actually put the comment into our buddy Alan Hahn. Listen, I love Thibs. Kenny, we wanted Thibs, but is this show a little bit really just how bad Fizdale was though, Paul, too? Is it more Thibodeau? Is it just that Fizdale really was way over his head getting this job?
Something with Fizdale. I mean, he came in here as a guy that coaches or that players really seem to like. That's what was kind of sold to everybody. I don't know, maybe because he was a little buddy with LeBron back in the day, but it just didn't click here. And Fizdale was kind of I hate to use the word victim, but he was the guy that was coaching that year that they knew they were just going to lay an egg and try and get Zion.
Yep.
And then he seems to never. He was kind of like roadkill after that. He never really got, it was kind of like, oh yeah, you're the guy that's going to coach us while we suck. And right. Never really kind of picked up any steam after that. And I guess it's hard to, because when you're a team that's winning 16 games, it's kind of hard to get excited. Kenny, I think the players never really gave him a lot of respect, and so it wasn't meant to be.
Kenny, can I do a little rapid, couple of quick hitters with you and Paul real quick?
Yes, you can.
All right. Paul, we'll start with you. Give me your biggest surprise so far in this 6 games. Who's your biggest surprise on the Knicks?
Well, you know what? I get to go with Randall because I didn't think he would be this good. So I would go at Randall.
Kenny.
I'm gonna probably RJ Barrett. I mean, he's been a little inconsistent, but he's had some games where he's getting close to 30 as well. So if he can get more consistent, yeah, but he's surprising me because I was worried about him coming in. I really was.
Paul, disappointment.
I mean, you can go with the easy ones and say like Dennis Smith and
that's mine. That's
Frank
mine.
Ntilikina. But they haven't. It's not like they showed anything. They haven't shown anything really.
Right.
So it's like, but that's kind of for me. That's just kind of like the low hanging fruit there for that one.
Kenny, I'm going to go Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, they listen. They had him in as the backup point guard. Taking time away from these other guys. He's hurt. He still can't shoot. He doesn't distribute. I'm going to go Dennis Smith Jr. I think they're trying to build his trade value up, but I don't know what they could get for this guy now. What about you, Kenny?
That's the easy one, that I would agree with that. But if I had to go a wild card, I'm going to go, and I know he's hurt, but I'm going to go Obi Toppin because the game before he got hurt, he was just shooting threes. I don't want him to
Great point. Great point.
I don't want that to be his number one option. I want him to be the Julius Randle, drive, and then if you're open, shoot a couple threes a game on the outside. But you need to be the inside presence and learn from Julius Randle what he's doing here, and then we'll have a two-headed monster. So be that rookie that we drafted with high expectations, and when you come back from this injury, do not shoot all those three-pointers. With your size, you should be inside battling. Like you said, learn from Julius Randle. Let him be your mentor.
Okay. Paul, you're down 1. Friday night, we're down 1. 7 seconds left. Who do you want taking that last shot on this Knick team so far?
We're talking or down 1. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a 3.
Who you putting that's it. Who you calling that play for?
Wow. It's it's so interesting because two of your top scorers, Randall and RJ, are not necessarily great jump shooters either. They've had their struggles here and there. So it's.
Do you take the hot guy and go Austin Rivers right now? I mean, he's been hitting big shots.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you got a guy, if he's got to drill it from the outside, I got to go with one of those guards like Rivers, Quickly, one of those guys. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but if you couldn't get that that inside bucket, I feel a little more confident with those guys shoot. Barrett's been so. I hate to pick on Barrett because overall he's played well, but you saw the first half tonight. It was like two different teams, and then they really woke up in the second half. And Barrett is still a very inconsistent shooter, and I'm hoping with time that he can develop that some more. So he's got the right coach and everything, I think, to help him out here. But that's a tough one.
The Queen of Hoops, Jenny Hoops, is chiming in saying down 1, drive to the basket with Rivers. So she's putting the ball in Mr. Austin. She has become an Austin Rivers believer.
Nice.
How about you, Kenny?
I'm going to cheat on this one. And I'll tell you why I'm going to cheat on this one. I asked our good friend who joined us a few months ago, Alan Hahn, on his post-game show, which he has on Facebook every night after the Knicks. So he should be coming on soon.
Oh, we all three of us should be on that tonight.
Wow, that'd be great to get him back.
And I asked him this question that you just asked, Kurt. This was weeks ago. I asked him this question. I said, down 1, who takes the last shot for the Knicks? With last 3-4 seconds on the clock. And he answered my question, and he said, and I'm going to answer it just like this because he made all the sense in the world. Whoever's open. And he said, because you're going to throw the ball in. Julius Randle would be the obvious choice. He's going to get inside. He's going to get double teamed. He may get a charge, lose the ball, game over. They double team, and they're worried about the inside. You get the open guy, Austin Rivers, Alec Burks, quickly, Barrett, whoever's open takes the shot.
Okay. I got one more for you, Kenny, okay? Give me 3 players. We'll start with Paul. Actually, I'll give my 3 first. I want 3 players who, no matter how good we're playing, no matter we're winning, who's 3 players that cannot just be kept on the bench and has to get time, develop for the future, and get time. My 3 are going to be, my number 1 guy is Kevin Knox. We can't just forget about him. He's got to be in the rotation. He's got to get minutes. We got to see what we got with him. I mean, he's part of a lot of packages you see as a trade when, okay, this team wants Knox and that team wants Knox. Is he going to be that knockdown shooter for us? So I think it's him. I mean, I think Quickly has to be in a rotation. He just can't go games where he doesn't play. And the other obvious one is Obi Toppin. He's a number 1 pick, a top pick. And I agree with you, Kenny. What are they going to do at Randall? Are they going to keep Randall in the future? If so, they better find a way to play with this kid Toppin. So those are my 3: Knox, Quickly, and Toppin. What about you, Paul?
All right. Well, I imagine so. I mean, we're assuming that RJ Barrett's part of this because his minutes are pretty hefty already. So I mean,
yeah, we'll see.
He's in the rotation. I mean,
Do you agree with me on Knox or no?
I agree about Toppin. I think you got to find. I agree about Quickly. I hate to be praising Quickly. His NBA career is 4 games, but I mean, we got to see what he can do.
Knox, you disagree with me on the Knox one?
He's running out of time. He really is. I'm gonna my wild card is Burks because I don't know if you guys. I looked at the stats and Burks is actually the 2nd leading scorer on the team. We're going into this game. He was averaging 21 points.
Another sharpshooter.
What a signing too, Paul. 1 year, $9 million. I think he got $9 million. I mean, that's nothing.
You need that. You need that shooter. I'm not a big Reggie Bullock guy. And, I think he's just filling space for the time being. But
till Burks comes.
Yeah, I'd like to see Burks be that guy. We need you need shooters in this league. I mean, you've seen it. You don't shoot, you don't win. And I know that sounds like simple cliche, but it's so true.
What about you, Kenny?
Quickly and Toppin, I want to see the young kids in there. I'm with Paul. I think Knox his time is running out. I've seen enough of Knox. If he stays on the bench, I'm going to go a little wild card here. I want to see a little more of Nerlens Noel. I think he fits the same role as Mitch Robinson, and Robinson's going to want a big contract. He's going to want money when this deal is up. When his Noel's cheaper. I want Noel to get a few more minutes. I think he's the same type of player as Mitch Robinson, and I think we can afford. I think in the long run. I know some people are in love with Mitch Robinson. Not taking anything away from him. I like the guy, but I think we can do equally as better. I don't see much of a difference with Nerlens Noel, so I'd like to see him get some more time and balance it out more.
Okay. Anything else for Paul, Mr. Kirkpatrick?
What's your final way too early prediction? Does this team make the playoffs? And how, barring any injuries, if the season, where would you put them if right now, where would you put them in the playoffs if you had to make a prediction? If you have them in the playoffs.
I think they can make that bottom seed there. I think they really got a chance there if they want to. Were they opening that up to the 9 and 10 seeds could play a play-in?
Yeah.
So it's kind of opening up 2 extra spots there. Between that and the 8 seed, they can make one of them. I think if with the coaching that they're getting, and we get some of these guys back. I think what's going to be crucial here is to get Burks and Toppin into this rotation, and then see what your best healthy 8 can do over the next like 20 games, and then you're going to have a real good sample size of what this team's made of. And then the Toppin scenario is going to kind of play to the future here, and you're going to determine what you can do with Randall, because if Toppin can carry a load and do okay, then Randall, and I know it sounds crazy because he's he leads the team and everything, but if you had the ability to acquire more assets for him, be it a first round pick maybe or something, just throwing ideas, because he's a very tradable commodity, not just because he's playing well,
He's
in
contract.
that last year, the contract, he's not even making crazy money, so they might be able to pull something there, and then make maybe even a bigger trade down the road. I have a question I'd love to ask you guys before we go too, but it's out of
Go ahead,
the
shoot,
fantasy
shoot,
fan.
shoot.
When you're ready, I'll give it to you. I know we're
Yeah, no, we're
going
fine.
down
Go ahead,
the next
shoot it
playoff
up.
team.
Go ahead.
The next get into the playoffs. That's your turn, Kurt.
Wait, will they?
Yeah. Well, I just answered. I said they would. So Kenny was asking what do you think?
I think they will. I think they will.
I think they will, and I don't think they're even going to play for the play-in. If they stay healthy, I think they get in with not even worried about the play-in. I think they're anywhere from around the 6 or 7 seed the way they're playing now.
And I'm going to say this, Paul. What makes me fired up is you just mentioned it. We have, I want to say it's 7. I think it's 7 or 6 draft picks over the next 4 years, number 1 picks, upwards to $60 million this year. And what we're doing with all these guys is and you use the word assets. Like all these guys now that are playing, it's, everyone's like, who do the Knicks have? Who do the Knicks have now? You want to make a trade, you got Burks. And I'm not even that we want to get rid of him, but you got Rivers. You got Bullock. These guys now on contending teams, you got legit players to trade along with, and we've always said it, everyone keeps saying, oh, free agencies don't want to come. But you know what? How many teams can give in a trade, say a Damian Lillard, I'm just throwing it out there, but a star. You know what? Listen, we're at a mercy now. We're not going to, why do we got to give you all that? 2 years ago, we'd have to give everything. Now, why? Look at our young guy. We're not going to give up quickly. Why? I'm not going to give up that kid point guard. I'm not going to give up RJ Barrett. So the assets, the money, the draft picks, that's what I'm so fired up. They can do, and the biggest thing is Kenny and Paul, Leon Rose, I trust him. I do. He's not Steve Mills, where he's going to – I trust this guy. I do. I just think this front office, him and Worldwide West with Thibodeau, I don't know. I'm fired up for him.
It's definitely a different feeling, guys, that we haven't had in years.
Oh, ton.
And it's not because we're 5-2 helps, But how great is it to have a better record than Brooklyn?
I love it.
Brooklyn having the headaches they're having, which I called Kurt last year.
You did.
I said, you want your Kevin Durant, you're going to have headaches. You want your Kyrie Irvings, you're going to have headaches. They're going to be fighting in 2 weeks. They'll be looking to get trade. They'll be looking to trade people in 2 weeks.
I'm pumped up, Paul. That's all I know is I am pumped up for this team.
Bring them on. I want to play them. I'm ready to play them.
Friday night, they're home. I want to say they got OKC Friday night at the Garden. They got their next 2 at the Garden. I think they go Friday and then Denver on Sunday. So, but you know what?
You want to discuss a question, right, Paul?
Oh, okay. So this is pure fantasy land. But Kurt, you're the one that kind of got this on my mind, and I did try to get Mr. Alan Hahn to weigh on one of his chats. But so talking about this whole thing with if the Warriors ever want to blow it up, so you know where I'm going immediately. So what if Curry ever became available and wanted to try and swing a deal with the Knicks, and who would you be willing? Now you're going to be giving up a ton of draft picks. Like I said, those assets that you're acquiring, but you're probably going to have to cut into, I'd say, at least 2 of the attractive current players right now. So let's do it. Let's assume you're giving up about 3 draft picks. That would be, I think, good starting point. But if you had to give up two of these four between Quickly, Barrett, Toppin, and Robinson, so you got to part with two of them and those couple of draft picks to get Curry, because you got to give up something and get something. Who are the two you're willing to part with?
Okay, number one, I'm going to be honest with you. That's a guy I would love him here. I think he would love the bright lights. I mean, we talk about shooting, the best shooter in basketball. I'm not giving up R.J. Barrett. I'm not. I don't care about draft picks, to be honest with you guys. I would give up draft picks. I don't really care if I have to give up 3 draft picks for him, 4 draft picks. I really don't. The Quickly thing would be the one where, Mitchell, I would say Mitchell Robinson, and who was the other one you said?
I said Robinson, Toppin, Quickly, and Barrett.
And I got to give up 2 of those?
Yeah, you might. In the real world, you might have to even give up 3 because this is a Hall of Famer. But
I'm going to be honest. I can't give up R.J. Barrett. I would probably do Toppin and Mitchell Robinson is the 2 I would give up. I don't know how crazy that sounds, but I would have to. And then if you're saying to me my last offer is I need Quickly, I probably have to do it for Steph Curry. I probably do.
You might be okay because they do kind of play the same position. So.
Right. What about you, Kenny? That's a great question, Kenny.
I would give up Toppin because I would pair up Curry with my boy Randall for the next 5 years, and I would take that in a heartbeat. We see what Randall's doing this year. So you know what? If Golden State wants to rebuild, you can take Toppin, who I don't know what he's gonna give us. So Toppin could be a Hall of Famer, or he could be a complete bust. So I'm willing to take that chance if I'm getting Steph Curry. Mitchell Robinson would be easy, but I don't think you're gonna get it for those 2. I would give up R.J. Barrett if you're getting Steph Curry.
I don't know, man. What would you? You know what, Paul? Answer your question.
So I would say if the easy one would be Toppin and Robinson. I hate to give up two rookies. I would go, if I had to, I would go Toppin and Barrett.
I would go Toppin.
I'm getting Steph Curry back without draft picks.
I would go Toppin, Robinson, and tell him I don't want to give up the other 2. I don't care if you give. I got to give up 3 number 1 picks down the road. I would do something like that. How about you, Paul? What would you do out of those 4?
I'm okay giving up Robinson. You know what? If it came down to they had to take 3 of them for that deal, I'm probably just going to say, yeah, you do it. You got to do it. It's a hard thing to weigh because you got 2 players in there that have played that could combine to like 6 NBA games at this point. That's why it's such a.
And you're getting the best shooter in basketball.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm thinking you got to think back. Like when they made that Carmelo deal, they gave up 3 starters, a bench player, and at least 3 draft picks.
3 number 1s, I think it was.
And this guy's better than Carmelo. So I'm thinking, it's like I said, you gotta give up something to get something. But
and you know what? You look and if Austin Rivers is a guy you trust, I mean, there's your backcourt. You have Rivers and Curry. But I'll tell you this: how many teams legitly can go and offer Golden State something legitly for Curry? We're in the conversation. That's the thing that's nice. What other teams can do that? How many other teams, like, you're not going to do that for the Knicks? If you're really rebuilding, and they're going to be rebuilding, you got a boatload of draft picks. We could even take somebody's back. We could take, like, what's that guy's name? Andrew Wiggins' contract and get that off your hands and take his money because we have cap space, The thing is, Kenny, would you throw your boy Randall in that deal for Curry? If you had to?
You got to see what I'm getting with Toppin. If Randall's putting up 25 a game, no. and doubles every game, and not just 10, 11 rebounds, 16 and 17 rebounds. Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that, honestly? Where are you getting that?
I know.
You can get a shooter. Look, we got Rivers, we got Burks, we got shooters.
Yeah, but you don't got that
shooters. But you can't find those 25, 16, 17 a game guys.
But Paul, can you imagine with fans in that building? Can you imagine how crazy Curry would be in that building, though?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
that's, and that's why.
My five, guy. My starting five, if I was able to get rid of Toppin and Robinson, my five would look like this: Curry, Rivers, Randall, Barrett, Nerlens, Noel. I would take that I would take those five
Well, I would too. And you know what, Kenny?
with any team in the league.
But Kenny, you made a great point. Like, you're not fully sold on Mitchell Robinson. I'm not fully sold on him. At this money, yeah. But if he wants big money, I want $20 million. Then you know what? Go trade him.
Goodbye. I can get the same from Nerlens Noel.
Absolutely. You could draft
$10
a
million
kid.
cheaper.
I agree.
That's the point I was making. Why I think I need to see him, because I think he's going to make a fuss that he wants more money.
Oh, he's gonna.
So I think that's why Nerlens got to get some playing time going forward.
Great question, Paul.
Anybody you're talking about in a trade like that, those are I mentioned those four guys because they're the four that got the real trade value because they're young and they have potential, and that's who they're going to ask about.
Oh, and think about Golden State would have Wiseman. They can possibly have Wiseman, Quickly, and Toppin. 3 guys in this draft all playing.
But you know what? See, like the NBA is so funny. The NBA is so funny, guys. Is like that's why I'm saying like with the Knicks cap space is the Golden State might be like, listen, you got to take Andrew Wiggins. I would do that. I would take it because the Knicks have no money anywhere. I would take his space and say, listen, you're only getting one of those guys with 2 draft picks, and I'll take your bad contract, and you could fully rebuild. But listen, they might do it. Because there's no teams that have money that can get rid of him and take him. We can. So the Knicks are in a great spot. Awesome spot.
Yeah, they just got to make the right move.
Right.
I'm not saying I wouldn't go out and get James Harden because I just don't think he's the right fit. So I got to do it smartly.
Put him in Brooklyn with Kyrie and Durant. Do us a favor.
Yeah, that'd be right where he belongs.
That's it.
With Jared Allen, who thinks he's Julius Irving.
Oh, please. I can't wait till they play.
That's for next week. We'll get into the Nets next week on their disgrace.
Absolutely.
With Bobby and Paul. We'll have a little round table with the Knicks and Nets.
But I'm fired up.
That's next week. Yeah, we'll bring you on each week if you want to come on,
That's
Paul.
It, Paul.
Sure, yeah, anytime.
And hey, Paul, I know.
We'll get Bobby on next week. We'll get him all wound
Kenny,
up.
last thing before Paul goes, he wanted to talk one more thing, and I didn't even tell him. But he wanted to talk a little Cobra Kai, but we have to give Kenny a week because he hasn't watched season 3.
Spoiler alert! I've watched all of season 3.
Oh, you have?
Oh, all right.
I can tell you.
Well, next week.
Spoiler alert! I'm Paul. I'll definitely get you on. We'll do something. I wrote to one of the guys. I haven't heard back from him yet.
Oh, to come on the show?
He officially. I'll give you guys a hint. He hasn't been on any of the seasons yet so far.
Oh.
Mr.
It's
Silver.
not who you think. It's not the top guy who you think, but it's a guy who could be in season 4.
Then it's Barnes.
Maybe Mike Barnes.
I wrote to Sean Kane.
Okay.
Kane.
He's I follow him on Instagram with all this hype that the show is getting, and he's very active on Instagram, and he's Kurt, we can get you a signed photo for $30 because he's always saying he's offering signed photos of himself.
I didn't know he was on Instagram. I'll have to write to him on there. He hasn't checked his Facebook. I wrote to him yesterday.
I didn't know Kenny watched season 3.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to find. I think it's a fake profile. I'm trying to get William Zabka, but I also saw that Martin Cove was on one of the shows, so I might be able to get Martin Cove. I'm
Paul,
right to him.
how great was it though when they walked into LaRusso's yard and Johnny just walks in and they bow to each other, and that's awesome.
I'll tell you what, because for 2 seasons they've been teasing that that partnership that we're gonna team up, we're gonna be friends, and I'm just like when they're playing that music, I'm just like I want to see Johnny walk into that yard. I want to know what's gonna happen.
All right, so you know what? We're gonna ask
off the air, Kurt, so we don't give the spoilers to our audience if anybody's out there listening, and then we'll talk real quick before we wrap it up after we sign off.
Okay. One real quick question now, just for Paul. Kenny, I can't answer and you can't answer, and you can change your mind. But right now, what's your prediction, Paul? Season 4, that finale, who's in that All Valley Tournament Championship right now?
Well, the way they've kind of set the stage here, you think it's going to be Johnny's kid for Colt. The switching of alliances has been just like crazy because you got good guys now, bad guys now, good guys. It's just like whoa, but it makes it entertaining. And so, so Robbie, I think will be the finalist for the Cobra Kai, and then I mean, the easy money says Miguel, but we'll just go with that. It'll be a rematch.
I think I said this to Jen, Kenny. I said this to Jen the other day. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's going to be just like the father in the original when he says, sweep the leg. And yes, sensei, Robbie's going to tell him no. Like right there. Like, I'm not fighting like that. Like, and I don't know who he's going to fight. It could be the girl. I don't know. Could it be a girl?
Yeah, it could be the girl.
I don't know.
I'm going totally different than you two.
You going 2 girls, Kenny?
I'm going the girls in the finale because they're the ones that started both fights the first 2 years. Or something crazy breaks out after the All Valley tournament. There's your third fight. Like they have the big fights. The school was the first one, and then the second one was at the house. So you may see after the tournament they all may be fighting. I could see the girls, and there's LaRusso saying, teaching her the move that Mr. Miyagi taught him, and I could just see them two going at it. I can also see we should go off the air because we're giving hours about this, but I can
next week, Kenny, we're doing a Cobra Kai. Paul wants to do a Cobra Kai segment.
Here's my bold prediction. All of a sudden, at the very end, it made no sense. What made no sense to me was Hawk leaving. I guess when he saw Miguel getting hurt, but I could see Hawk being a decoy and learning all the tricks of the trade
and bringing
them back to Cobra Kai on the side.
I read this one rumor, Paul.
Learning all their secrets.
How old is Kreese in the show? Like that they say he's a little old. Obviously, he's older than Johnny and LaRusso, right?
I mean, he's got to be around 70, right?
He's around 70.
Okay, so they were saying that again. I read this crazy rumor. You never saw Tori's mother that's sick. I was reading Kreese's girlfriend never died. They had a kid, and that's the granddaughter, or something to that effect of. Because they keep saying with Kreese's, the girlfriend died. Remember his captain or whatever kept saying, and they never showed. They keep Tori's mother sick. She's sick. They never show her. They're saying, could that somehow be with Kreese? And Kreese now becomes, oh my God, what am I creating? This is my granddaughter, or because it can't be daughter, but. I don't know. That was kind of crazy, though.
That's an interesting theory. I love those flashbacks to Kreese and the army and stuff.
I think something's going to happen where you learn more about Kreese because they're making him out to be a hero. He saved everybody with all the flashbacks. You're seeing all the hero stuff that he did. Is he going to be like when assuming Terry Silver comes back and if Barnes comes back? Are they going to be the supervillains, and is Kreese going to take a side for the good, And or are you going to find out what set him off? I know losing his girlfriend, that's why but that captain was bad news, and Kreese did save everybody. They're showing all good things that Kreese did in the army in Vietnam.
Let's do it next week. We're going to lock it in a Cobra Kai segment.
We might have a Cobra Kai show if I can get Sean on.
Yeah, we get those guys. We're doing a Cobra Kai show.
If he agrees to come on,
we're in live show.
We'll do a Thursday show. Wits and Wagers will turn into Cobra Kai hour.
I love it. All right, let's get going, Kenny, because it's 10:29. Great show
Yeah,
tonight.
We could do a 24-hour Cobra Kai
Oh
stream.
my God. Thank you, Paul, for coming on. I am
Well, thank
super
you.
pumped up about this Nick team now. I know that. Hoops is pumped up. Kenny's pumped up. We're ready to roll. You know what, Kenny? Next week, the Nick background's back, I think.
No, don't change anything.
Not yet? Okay.
Don't jinx anything.
All right. If you don't want it, we won't do
See,
it.
I'm wearing this hat every week. We
That's-
come on.
yeah.
It's like a bad week. All right.
All right,
thanks
boys.
again, Paul.
We're
Have
heading
a,
out.
have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Thank you,
All
Paul.
right. Take care.
See you guys.
All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Great show tonight.
Yes, want to thank all and everybody for joining in on our new format. Eddie Siciliano, our Hall of Famer, College Football Talk. Rob Neely,
Will Cologne, John Beelan.
Viva Los Bills on tomorrow night, 7:30 I-95. Rob Neely, check out his seasonings and rubs. Smoky beard, awesome
Yep.
stuff.
Johnny Beelan, obviously, coming
Johnny
on.
Beelan, our co-host, and of course
Coach
Paul
Breslin
McLean
and Coach Breslin.
and Coach Breslin also. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. We're going to be doing this each and every week, and we look forward to speaking and talking to all of you about the world of sports.
And see you tomorrow. Wits and Wages. We'll get into our picks for the weekend.
Wits and wages,
game by game.
more guests and more discussions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kirkpatrick.